Run, Ronnie, run.
All right, let's call this August 11th Essex County Board of Supervisors regular meeting to order. April, please just do a, oh, I'm sorry.
After Supervisor
Supervisor Henry, would
Henry.
you mind doing the invocation and the pledge for us, please?
We stand, please. Move your head, Gil. Thank you. Heavenly Father, we come here this afternoon to just say thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you for allowing us to see another wonderful day, Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, now I ask that you bless all those military soldiers and veterans that are deployed overseas at this time, Heavenly Father. Also, I just ask that you stop by and just let us all become one mind and to make better decisions for our whole community so that the citizens will be proud of their county. This we ask in your name, we pray, amen. Could
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Supervisor Henry. April, you do a roll call, please.
Chairman Akers.
Present.
Vice Chairman Gill.
Present.
Supervisor Hale.
Present.
Supervisor Henry.
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen. You have a quorum.
We have a quorum, thank you. First review of the agenda. Gentlemen, we don't need to necessarily change our agenda because we have spots already for the school board and the EDA as part of our agency reports, so that's where we'll utilize that. We'll just take them ahead of the other reports like we have in the past. So I get a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved with those changes.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Recognition, Sheriff Holmes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board. I have recognition here tonight and also for the community. As you know, as of July 1, the Sheriff Office took over the animal shelter. So everything falls under the Sheriff Office now. If you have any complaint, call the Sheriff Office and we will take care of it. But I want to recognize Jason Mazzango. He comes to us from Northumberland County. He's our new sergeant at the shelter. So if you get a call for any animal complaint, just call the sheriff office to the public, and Jason will take care of the problem. Okay? To the board, I think the board already recognized him. We've been in different shelters, and I'll have Jason say something if he'd like to say something.
Put you on the spot.
Of course, I haven't planned on saying anything, but I feel like I've been accepted in pretty well so far. It's been a little bit of an adjustment for me, but I made a good statement there in Northumberland. I'm trying to see if I can get things turned around and make it even a better one here. Thank you all for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. All right. All right, we'll go right into our public hearings. I'll read the public hearing rules of procedure. The purpose of a public hearing is to hear and receive testimony from the public on certain resolutions, ordinance, or amendments prior to taking action. A hearing is not a dialogue or a debate. Its express purpose is to receive additional facts, comments, and opinion on subject items. Speakers should approach the lectern so they may be visible and audible to the board. Each speaker should clearly state his or her name and address. All comments should be directed to the board. All questions should be directed to the chairman. Members of the board are not expected to respond to any questions, and response to questions shall be made at the chairman's discretion. Speakers are encouraged to contact staff regarding unresolved concerns or to receive additional information. Speakers with questions are encouraged to call county staff prior to the public hearing. Speakers should be brief and avoid repetition of previously presented comments. At the conclusion of the public hearing on each item, the chairman will close the public hearing. The board will proceed with its deliberation and will act on or formally postpone action on such item prior to proceeding to other agenda items. Further public comment after the public hearing has been closed generally will not be permitted. So with that, we'll go into our public hearings. Our first one we have is our major subdivision plat case 202-60111. We had a briefing on this from Brian Barnes during our work session. At this time, I will give the opportunity for the applicant. Is the applicant here, Brian? To make any statements or comments they'd like to make? Okay. At this time, we will open up the public hearing for any comments on the subdivision plat case 202-60111. Brian, you would just give a brief description of the case, just so the public's aware, in case they haven't followed it.
I can read that in. Public hearing for the consideration of a major subdivision preliminary plat approval request by Vision Builders and Development pursuant to the Essex County zoning and subdivision ordinance. Subdivisions in Article Division 6 preliminary plats for a 17-lot subdivision, 16 lots buildable, revised down to 16 lots, 15 buildable on tax map 35-15A, consisting of 40 acres, zoned A2, agriculture and forestry general, within the rural residential comprehensive plan district, with a proposed entrance off Scotts Mill Road near Deshay Road within the central magisterial district.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open it up for any public comments. I got you. Take your time. That's okay.
My name, and I'm sure is Betsy Massey. I live at 120 Fairhaven Road, Tracy's Landing, Maryland, and I have to apologize, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
I own the property apparently that involves all this, and I am adamantly opposed to this major subdivision. A lot of assumptions have been made about right-of-way and future stub roads through our property. There will be I will not give any additional right-of-ways. I do not want a stub road because that indicates that they're going to cut through my property at a later date. And I'm not willing to sign over anything to VDOT. We've already given to VDOT. I've given to the utilities. To Scotts Mill Road and Deshay Road is very bad. We, years ago, allowed them to come through and lower that, and it's still not a very good intersection there, site plans. I'm against a community well for many reasons. I just think it's a way of getting around having individual wells for each person, and it's better. I live on a well system, and it's much better if you have your own wells. And I'm not giving, this area is rural, and that's, if you go on Deshay Road, it is a rural country road. You barely can get one car up and down it. And one of the things that they're saying you have to have is an exit in and out. I'm not willing to give that extra. When we gave the 50-foot right-of-way, that was all that was needed at that time. And I'm sorry. It's upsetting to me because it's my family's property, and I'm trying not to get upset. I want it to remain rural. That whole area down there is rural, and you just have to ride down the road. The sight lines are still not good on Scotts Mill Road and Deshay Road if you look. I don't care what you do, you'd have to really lower, and I don't know how you could lower it anymore with the curves and everything in the road. And I've been reading in the papers, hopefully keeping in touch with this, and I know you have denied other subdivisions when they don't have two ways in and out. And what they're talking about with the stub road, you're not going to be able to take emergency vehicles up in there unless we allow them to cut through our property. And we're not going to do that. We've given enough. Let's see. And the houses, the way they look, they're situated on that plat, are near our family graveyard. We have people that are buried there before the Civil War, through the Civil War, World War II veterans, and I don't think that's appropriate right there. And there is some slope problems. And all I can say, I've been left out of the loop, and there's been a lot of assumptions made. I only heard from the person that's doing this about a week and a half ago, and I was extremely upset because I had seen the plans, and it looked like they had already assumed they owned my property, and they were going to be able to do whatever they wanted with it. And that's not the way you do it. You approach the person that owns the property first before you make any conclusions and present it to the board. I think that's a waste of time. You have to check with the person to see if they're willing to sell that property. I guess that's really all I have to say, and just that, I hate the fact that everything seemed to be going forward, and it was gonna involve my property, and we were never notified. I did not get a letter about the May 5th meeting until well after it happened. And the only reason I knew about this June meeting with the Planning Commission is because our neighbor contacted us, not anybody from the Planning Commission. And I get my tax bills, we've been getting tax bills for over 7 generations, and they come at least a month ahead of time. So even this notice, I did not get until this past Friday. And I had to rearrange my schedule so we could be here for this, because I think it's very important that you understand. That whole area there is still rural, and I think it should remain that way. There are other areas that could very well handle a large subdivision. This one cannot, especially where they want to plan on coming in and out of that road. So,
Thank you.
is that it?
Yeah, we don't have any, we
Oh,
won't have any
good.
questions for you.
I hope I can make it back to my seat.
Take your time. Do we have anyone else wishing for public hearing? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Roger Massey. I co-own the land that surrounds this development application. I'm going to just hit a few points that my wife hit earlier, but I'm going to be a little bit more distinct and direct. We are giving no more land, no more right-of-way. Not 1 inch, nothing. If they need more right-of-way, that they have 50 foot, it will not come from us. The stub road that they talk about that will give egress and ingress, the second way in and out for the fire department and police department. That stub road that on the application ends at our property as well. And it would have to cut across our property to Deshay Road. Let me be very distinct and firm. We will not be developing that property. That is going to stay for the next 2 generations in our family. We mean to keep the remaining property we have in our family. My daughter and granddaughter do not look to develop any of that property, so that stub road for the next at least 50 years will not be extended through our property. State road. Back in the 1990s, the state came to us and said, we need some land from you because sight lines from Deshay Road onto Scotts Mill. We were very amenable and agreeable, neighborly, and we gave property so they could lower that hill and make the sight lines better. Let me be very distinct this time. Some of our neighbors haven't been very neighborly to us. We will not give 1 inch of our property for any road improvements in that area. You will have to litigate us and go to eminent domain to get any more property for that road right away if it's needed. And I think it's desperately needed. And probably one of the most important things to hit on is the wells, the water. Essex County is already looking at water problems. Surrounding counties are drawing water from the Rappahannock. My granddaughter, when she graduates from college, has indicated she may want to build a house where her great-great-grandmother and grandmother grew up and lived. Is there going to be water there? 15, 16 homes? Community well? What's that do to the water system? I want to be very firm again. I want my daughter and my granddaughter to be able to build a house where their great-great-grandmother once lived. I will do whatever necessary to ensure that they have water there if and when she decides to build. And if it takes litigation, we will litigate all the way to the Virginia highest level of judicial system. So just beware. I do not want you all, the Board of Supervisors, Planning and Zoning, our neighbors to be caught by surprise like we were. I'm telling you what is going to happen if this development as it stands goes forward. You have stirred up a hornet's nest with this. Rest assured, we will devote all of our time that we have and all of our resources that we have to include any and everything and any and everybody to make sure that my granddaughter can keep that property pretty much as it is so she can build a house in a rural setting. When we sold that house at the urging of my father-in-law, we sold that land to them. We were told there would be maybe 1 or 2 houses built because they have some family in the area. That was, again, we believed everything we were told. That's why they got the right-of-way that they have. And now we see this big subdivision. Steep slopes, family graveyard that's going to be very close to the houses at the back end that they're planning to build. A family graveyard, another graveyard that holds World War II veterans, Civil War veterans that are buried there. It's going to be very close, within 90 feet. 90 feet. That is very close. So, I'm going to sum it up pretty quickly. This is not the right place for development. It's going to impact negatively on us, on our property. All of our property surrounds them. It's going to impact our neighbors that live there. Water, noise, traffic, you name it. It's going to impact Essex County because now you all are all busy filing papers 8, 9, 10 times a day, a week for this. And it's even going to affect the state, Virginia Department of Transportation, that I'm sure is going to come looking for more road frontage, more road to make that safer. The police and the fire department especially has already indicated they don't have enough room to turn around their big fire truck. They want another ingress, egress way in and out, 2 ways in and out. So, again, we're going to do what we can, all of our resources to protect our property and our family legacy, and we do not think this development is right for that area. It's not even close for that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Any additional comments? Yes, sir.
How you doing? My name is John Coonley. I live over on Deshay, the road that they're trying to take stub through. I completely agree with Roger and Betsy both. I have 2 properties down there, and it's 86 feet from both my properties. You know, I've got young children. You know, I don't want all of this coming in. She said there's not Section 8s coming in, there's not trailers coming in, but from the research I have done, this is going to be rent-to-own homes, which in turn, I have seen where it's a high turnover rate. All my other neighbors are wanting to be here, but they are elderly and disabled. They've voiced the same concerns. When you come off Deshay, you cannot see left or right. I've talked to VDOT several times. I've talked to the supervisor. You cannot see through there. I've got an 84-year-old neighbor. She has to pull halfway out on Scotts Mill to even see it. She's been almost hit several times. And with increased traffic, it's just going to cause a big issue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any additional public comments? Hearing none, we'll close this matter for public comment. Moving on to our next section. John?
Yes, I have a personal interest in this case number 2026-0184 as one of the owners of County Tax Map Parcel 6086A and as a member of Woodland Partnership, which has a mailing address of 247 Bruce Road, Tappahannock, Virginia. Therefore, I am disqualifying myself from participating in this matter. Call me back when you're done.
Please, John. So we'll be moving forward with the conditional use permit case number 202-60184. Brian, you just give us a quick overview of that, and then I'll offer the same extension to the applicant to provide some comments and go from
This
there.
public hearing for the consideration of conditional use permit request by Ezzy Forest Exports LLC, care of Woodland Partnership pursuant to the Essex County zoning subdivision ordinance, use matrix, section 36.311, table 36.112, sawmill, commercial, and Article 3, Division 5, conditional use permits for a proposed log purchasing and aggregation yard for log export on a defined and yet to be divided 7.46 acre parcel area on tax map 60-86A consisting of 80.86 acres zoned A2 Agriculture and Forestry General within the Countryside Comprehensive Plan District located off Tidewater Trail on Montague Road and within the South District Magisterial District. And the applicant is here.
Thank you, sir. Do you have make some comments?
Thank you very much. My name is Murtaza Ali, and I live in Houston, Texas. And my business is exporting wood logs. And my plan is to set up an export log yard there, and where we would have activity of bringing the logs in, and then grading them, sorting them, and loading them back into the 40-foot high-foot containers and shipping overseas. That's the only activity we're gonna do there. And we wish to install a small debarker over there, because for some of the export shipments, there's a requirement to debark the logs prior to loading into the containers. So that would amount to like, maybe, for example, if we are shipping like 150 containers, maybe 50 to 80 containers, or 40 to 50 containers we would need to debark. That's all the activity we're gonna do there. So if any objections here, so I can answer them.
Board members, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Did you actually, when you decided you wanted this piece of property, did you actually go and visit the residents around there and talk to them?
No.
And you looked at this and you knew you had big trucks coming? You checked out the area and this thing?
Yes, I checked the area and I visited this area, I visited the Montague Road, and we figured how we will bring the containers from port, and we saw that Highway 17 is a straight shot to port, so easy logistics, and mostly the truckers will be on the Highway 17 only. It's a straight going to the port. That's what we, checked logistically.
So the logs are coming already in the container?
Sorry?
Somebody gonna bring you the logs?
Loads?
Yeah, the logs, how are they getting there?
Yeah.
People gonna bring them to you, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So,
And then we will sort them, grade them from diameter size, and then we load into the containers for shipping overseas.
and
So
this,
we will have loaders on the ground to unload the logs from the trucks and then load into the container. So we would have a couple of loaders there.
this is the only place this is the only, piece of land that you like to try to operate this place?
Yeah, the most important thing we need to see when we set up export log yard is how far it is from the port, seaport, Norfolk port.
Mm.
It has to be within like 80 miles radius to be logistically economical. If we go like 200 miles or 300 miles, so logistically it's not economical. We cannot ship, we cannot meet the international pricing because there's a price cap for pine export. We have to be within 80 to 90 miles radius of the seaport, which is, in our case, is Norfolk port.
So, Mr. Ali, this is a conditional use permit, which means that we as a board, if this board chose or decided to approve this, it could also put conditions on this. With the debarking, what percentage would you estimate you would have to debark based on where you're sending this to?
If we are shipping like 150 containers, so let's say 1/3 of it, 50 containers,
And if,
out of 150, yeah.
and if this board made a condition that it wasn't going to allow the debarking of
Yeah,
the
well,
logs, would that still make this a viable project?
Yeah, the thing is that we ship to different foreign destinations, and each of the foreign destinations, they have their own requirement of the agriculture products coming in their country.
And I understand their requirements, I'm saying, but we may make a requirement, it could make it a requirement that you not be able to do that. And would that make this an economically viable project if that was not
No,
allowed?
sir. If we remove the debarking option, so my export options will be very limited, because the debarking option is something many of the foreign countries, they are adopting this debarking. I mean, for example, I give an example. I was shipping to South Asian destination till last year, October, they were allowing bark on logs. But now they put this condition, the logs has to be debarked and fumigated. But they gave us an allowance that you debark the logs at the origin and we can fumigate the log at destination. So this way, we are able to ship them. Otherwise, we would have to do both the activities here, debarking and the methyl bromide fumigation.
And what happens with the bark after you debark it? Where's it go?
The bark, as I'm aware, there is a law here that we cannot leave the bark on the ground, so we would need to put the bark into the container, and it can be sold as a byproduct.
Ronnie?
The fumigation, is that a restricted use pesticide?
We are not gonna do that, fumigation.
I thought you said you were, I misunderstood. You had-
No, the fumigation is, I mean, for example, if you are shipping logs to China, so China has a requirement, debarked or fumigated, one of the things. Either we fumigated bark on or we debark it.
So it's one or the other?
Sorry?
It's one or the other, debarking
Yes,
or
or,
fumigating?
yes, exactly. Some of the countries now, they are asking for both the things. For example, a Southeast Asian destination where I'm shipping to, they want both debark and fumigation. But for the fumigation, they have provided an option, either we do it at the origin or they can do it on the destination. So we tell them, okay, you do it on the destination, we'll just do the debarking here at the origin. Because the fumigation is a kind of tricky part of the log export, because different states have different laws. And I give an example, a fumigation of a non-oak product, non-oak container in Savannah, Georgia is $300, and same container, if we go for fumigation, Ohio, Illinois, is $1,000, $1,100. So state to state, there are different laws. In New York, it's almost impossible. There is only one fumigator at the port, at the New York port, Vanguard. They charge $1,300 for one container. And the same container at Savannah, Georgia is $300. So fumigation, we are not interested at the moment. We are not touching those markets right now unless in future, if this comes up very heavily, then we'll think about that. Right now, we are good with the debarking. Because many countries, they are asking for the debark logs.
Board members, any other questions from Mr. Ali? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
At this point, I'll open it up to any public comments for the public hearing. Do we have anybody that wants to speak on the conditional use permit 202-60184?
Hello. Oh, my goodness. My name is Barbara Jump. I'm on Mount Prospect Road in Laneview, Virginia. My land backs up to the proposed land that would be used for this logging and debarking and loading operation. Bringing logging trucks into a residential area for commercial operations is a serious threat to infrastructure, environmental health, and public safety. Severe road damage is the first part. Heavy logging trucks will rapidly accelerate the already bad potholes that we have on that road. I don't know if y'all have been on that road lately, but it's filled with potholes already. So heavy logging trucks only gonna make it worse. Air pollution, constant diesel emissions from trucks and heavy equipment introduce particulate matter that will wreak havoc on people, neighbors with immunocompromised health issues, including asthma, COPD, bronchial respiratory conditions. The dust and dust clouds already, again, on that road are already horrendous. And the logging trucks going up and down it all day is gonna make the dust even worse. And finally, the noise disturbance. Industrial debarking machines, chainsaws, front-end loaders, and diesel truck engines generate high decibel, low-frequency noises that have already been proven time and time again to increase stress and cortisol levels. Now, when stress and cortisol levels remain high, that is a risk factor in heart disease, in mental health issues, in poor sleep, in children not being able to learn as well as they would without the noise disturbances. I say this as a certified public health specialist, certified by the Board of National Public Health. So I'm telling you this because it's already a proven health danger, and I said this at the zoning meeting. I'm not going to get into every last little detail of how many decibels does it, but if you want to know what the noise levels would be day in and day out, 5 days a week, from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. as is proposed in this conditional use permit, it'd be something like this. Now what you have there are 4 noises. That's a accumulation of the log debarker. That's the one that was pictured in the proposal. I got the sound of that one. That's a truck, 850 horsepower diesel log truck. It's a front-end loader backing up that would be backing up and loading those logs all day long. And it's a chainsaw. Now the debarker that the gentleman who is making the proposal would run a lot, because there are current international standards that all of the trees must be debarked or fumigated. He's not doing any fumigation. Well, that's great. That's wonderful. But that noise would be hellish for every single person on that road. And it's also hellish. I mean, personally, I think it's a hellish deal because it's like a deal with the devil, you know? It's a betrayal. It's stabbing the neighbors in the back who worked for years to afford those homes, worked for decades maybe to afford those homes on Montague Road. And they pay their county taxes that are rising year after year. And they just want to live in peace. That's why they bought there. And so it's a betrayal to them. And for a little extra tax money, for a few pieces of silver in the pocket of a few people who don't even live there, I just, to me, I sum it up by saying it's a betrayal. And shame on anyone who goes along with that betrayal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chump. Additional comments?
My name is David Tolliver, and we live at 1835 Mount Prospect Road down at Laneview. And this is the first time I can remember that Montague has ever risen to this level, so thank you for giving us the attention. First of all, I'd like to take this time to thank the supervisors for giving of their service and their willingness to take on tough questions. You can't satisfy everybody, but I know you'll give it some good thought. And I sort of stand before you with a position on both sides. I live in that neighborhood, and that's where my farm was before we retired. And but I also own timberland, so the results of what you all do here are pretty important. And Mrs. Jump, I think, did an excellent job of presenting the negative aspects to it. But there's one thing I'd like to add to what she said, and that is road safety and the truck traffic. My greatest concern is the way the trucks would leave their facility and travel north
on Mount Prospect, on Montague Road, and then they would intersect with Mount Prospect and have to turn left before they approached Route 17. Now that distance is only about 30 feet or so. And a truck coming out of out of Montague and turning left on Prospect wouldn't necessarily block any incoming traffic into Prospect Road. So cars turning off of 17 onto Prospect could face a situation they would have to stay on the highway, either cross over the pullover lane before they can make that turn. And I think that's a safety issue. The second part of that, when the truck stops at the northbound side of 17, the person cannot see the southbound traffic because there's a berm right in front or between two lanes just north of the crossover. So a truck driver would have to pull across the northbound lane and pull into the crossover to stop to clear traffic. And when he does that, the distance is such that the rear of his trailer could be in the northbound lane. So I think that presents a serious traffic situation. And any car traveling north in the passing lane, moving 60 miles an hour or plus, could be at risk for a serious accident. So I think if you approve this conditional use, the part of the conditions would have to be a traffic study at that intersection to make it safe. Now, on the other side, the timberland owners in the county could use another market, and I'm always in favor of good markets. Now, we do have Tidewater Lumber and Ball Lumber Company, but they're mostly processing pines, and because of the way their facilities work, they can only take pines up to a certain size. And so this looks like it would be a good market. And so I also think that you ought to try to find a place in the county that's more suitable for this kind of operation. And so whatever you decide, there's more work to be done. It was my privilege back in 2014 to serve on advisory board to create a strategic plan for ag and forestry. And that was the beginning of the Ag and Forestry Advisory Committee, of which I was a part for several years. Now that plan was designed to go from 2015 to 2020. And the goals that were listed in that plan are still, should be goals today. And I'm going to read one of them here. The citizens and county leaders need to be aware of the importance of forestry to the county. Goal number 3 is to promote financial investment and expand economic opportunities for agriculture and forestry. Now, if you deny the conditional use, then I think it's imperative that working with EDA, you try to find another location in the county for this business. In fact, when I looked at the zoning map, I could see a very limited area for industrial and light industrial. So there are areas in the county that are much better suited than what's proposed tonight. And finally, what I see, it's the right idea, but in the wrong place. Now, if you approve it, then please follow up on the traffic situation and put conditions that will mitigate the circumstances that Mrs. Jump brought up. Now, you might consider, I don't know whether you're allowed to do this under state law or not, but some kind of mitigation type thing if you decide to approve it, that if we lose more A2 land to industrial development, that some way you can find A2 land by rezoning another place that's previously been zoned for this. But that's kind of another discussion. But anyway, that's all I have to say
Thank you, Mr. Tolliver.
tonight. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
if any questions.
No, we won't ask anybody any questions.
My name is Bob Jump, and I want to thank you all for your time this evening. My wife Barbara and I live on Mount Prospect Road in Lakeview, and that's just down the street from Montague Road. Montague Road, that's the road full of potholes and very, very narrow. Montague Road is also the road these logging folks want to use. It's hazardous, it's dangerous, it was never designed for this kind of usage. And as Mr. Tolliver said, it is a safety issue. Also, being proposed here tonight is noise, 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 and more noise in our small community of neighbors, which, of course, has always been quiet, at least for 18 years that my wife and I have lived there. So this is a big problem for the folks and neighbors who like things quiet, which is why we all moved to Lakeview to begin with. Not to mention those dangerous conditions I spoke of earlier, big trucks hauling big logs on a little teeny tiny narrow road. And those are the facts. Now you might ask yourself, what kind of a neighbor would come in and impose that noise all day long? What kind of a good neighbor would do such a thing? What kind of a neighbor would be selfish enough to totally disregard Laneview's peace and quiet? Well, surprise, because John Magruder and Michael Wind aren't your neighbors. They don't even live there. They are businessmen, and let me say that again. They are not your neighbors. Magruder and Wind are businessmen who just happen to live on the other side of town. You know, that part where it's nice and quiet. So in short, the idea that these two non-neighbors could simply waltz into this quiet, peaceful little town and plan this loud, noisy, and dangerous business is nothing but arrogance. So I say, even though you're not a neighbor, fellas, just pretend you are. Try and be that good neighbor, and don't do this to your Lakeview neighbors, because good neighbors wouldn't do it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jump. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Asia Murray. I reside at 1059 Montague Road. And I'm here tonight asking you to vote no on the proposed sawmill. I want you to understand what this decision means for people who already live here. This is not an industrial area. This is a road made up of homes. Many of the residents have lived here for most, if not all, of their lives. For them, these aren't just houses and pieces of land. This is their home, their peace, their security, and their wealth. It is land they have worked for, cared for, and hope to pass down to their children and grandchildren. Now imagine spending decades building your life somewhere, only to have an industrial operation placed directly behind your home. A sawmill brings heavy equipment, large trucks, noise, dust, and increased traffic. That changes the character of this road and the quality of life for everyone living here. We also have to consider the potential impact on the land and the homes surrounding it. Industrial activity can affect the noise levels, air quality, drainage, runoff, vegetation, wildlife, and the overall environment. We have elderly residents and people with existing health concerns, and we should not wait until someone is negatively affected before deciding these concerns matter. We also need to think about emergencies. What happens if there is a fire or equipment accident? Can emergency vehicles safely and quickly access the area? What happens if heavy trucks block or slow down the road? These are questions that need real answers before this project is approved. And what about the homes themselves? Our homes are investments. They represent decades of work, and for some people, and for some families, generations of history. We cannot ignore the possibility that placing industrial activity next to residential properties could affect property values and the ability to enjoy these homes and what families are able to pass down. I want to make something clear. We are not against jobs, businesses, or economic growth. We are saying that development needs to happen in the right place. There are appropriate locations for industrial operations. A quiet residential road where people have spent generations building their lives should not automatically become an industrial site simply because the land is available. Once this is built, we cannot get the peace back, we cannot get the quiet mornings, we cannot undo the traffic, we cannot undo the changes to the land, and we cannot undo the impact on families after the fact. So please, don't look at this as simply approving a business. Look at the people who will have to live beside it every day. These residents were here first. They built their lives here. They invested in their land. They found their peace here. This is just a piece of property on a map. This isn't just a piece of property on a map, excuse me. These are people's homes, their land, and their lives. Please listen to the residents and vote no on the proposed sawmill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'd also like to thank you all for your time. My name is Wanda Cawthorn Randolph, and the community that we are talking about is mine. I'm glad that Mr. Henry opened in his prayer saying that he's asking God to help you all make decisions that benefit the residents and the community. The Zoning Commission, when we were here a month ago, already made that determination that this conditional use permit request does not benefit the residents, does not benefit the community. Montague Road, it is a multicultural, multiracial, multi-generational community where we all live together in peace and harmony. My mother has been at her home for 50+ years. Not once have I had to worry about her going outside and worrying about dust, whether she's drinking clean water, whether when she walks to her mailbox or if she wants to go up to the Dollar Tree to get a birthday card or to the food line to get food, that she has to encounter any type of truck and potentially run over in the ditch, which she almost did a couple of weeks ago when she encountered heavy equipment. These are things that they should not have to worry about. I'd also like to mention in the summary, the request for the permit that you'll have in your package. I'm glad Mr. Jump brought up the arrogance that it takes for someone to continue to pursue this request after hearing all of the negative impacts at our last hearing. The request, 1 page or so, says, since this is a forestry business, there are no health concerns at this location. Not true. The operation of this business is safe for the general welfare of the neighboring A2 zone properties. Not true. The level of impact on the surrounding properties is minimal. I don't think anything you've heard makes this minimal. But again, this is the lack of research, consideration. All of us here in our community, I think, have raised more concerns and brought more research about the equipment being used, the air, the water, the lack of environmental promises and protection than those who are asking for the permit. It's careless, it's irresponsible. And I just want to say that. We are counting on you to vote no. This is a one-sided situation. Again, no benefit. We have not heard one benefit to the residents of Montague Road, not one. Please give us one, and we might consider it, but we haven't heard anything. To disturb the entire community for the enhancement and the enrichment of a few is not fair, it's not responsible, and you all should want to make the right decision, as Mr. Henry said, to benefit the residents and the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Javon Dunn. I live and own 925 Montague Road, and I'm asking the board to not approve the conditional use permit presented before you today. For property reference, my land borders that of the conditional use request on two sides. The entrance road leading into the property in which they will be working, and the working area located directly behind my land. If you haven't driven Montague Road, it's best described as a single-lane gravel road, approximately 10 to 11 feet wide, which is pretty standard for a single-lane rural road in Virginia. Two regular-sized vehicles, 5.5 to 7.5 feet wide, depending on the vehicle, cannot safely pass each other on this road. Now consider meeting an 8.5-foot wide tractor and trailer on that narrow road 300 times a day or in the month. He's talking about 150 loads. That's in and out, 300 passes. A majority of the residents on Montague Road are older, as you've heard. I worry about the possibility of, with the road conditions, for EMS being delayed. And if you've ever had a medical emergency or a family with a medical emergency, you know that seconds make a difference. A rescue squad, fire truck, a school bus, meeting a log truck or container truck means someone is going to have to back up, and that's a dangerous problem. There are portions of the road that curve, and with the overgrowth present, seeing what's coming is nearly impossible. All of these situations are dangerous for the first responders, for the drivers, for the kids, for anybody who happens to be on that road. Not to mention the physical damage that these log trucks will have on the gravel road, already in poor condition with numerous, sometimes large potholes. I have livestock. Their pastures and barns run along the property lines. The traffic and the noise that this business would create is concerning, not only for us, but also for our animals. In the previous zoning meeting, it was presented as a noise levels being minimum. However, hearing protection is part of an OSHA requirement under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration of the U.S. Department of Labor for logging companies and deck stations. Obviously, if it's concerning enough for them to make ear protection a mandate, we would be remiss and dismissive of the potential impact that this has on the residents and of our animals. I have concerns about the increase in diesel particulate matter and wood dust involved with the deck station. I have a child who is asthmatic and a mother who suffers from difficulty breathing, currently both living in my home. Running diesel-powered equipment 5 days a week, 10 hours a day, emitting lung irritants such as soot, carbon particles, nitrogen oxides, not to mention the fine wood dust created from the debarking, cross-cutting, and overall dust created through movement just on general dirt and gravel. All of these can cause irritation to the eyes and respiratory systems. Finally, the addition of a sawmill or decking station will not help property value. A decrease in the value of my home may help when it comes time to pay taxes, but it will not help if the time ever comes for me to sell my property. I cannot think of a single person who would wish for a sawmill at their back door. I close by asking you to think about this. Think about waking up to the sounds of grapplers, loaders, debarkers, skidders, chainsaws, almost every day of the week. Walking out your back door and being met by the sight of a tractor trailer and heavy machinery working pretty much in your backyard almost every day. Now I ask you, think about how important it is for you to go home after a long day knowing you can sit down and relax on your deck or back porch inside your home and have peace and quiet. Because a vote to allow this conditional use permit to move forward will take all of that comfort away from those of us who already reside on Montague Road. We are not opposed to development or allowing growth in business in this county. However, as the parties in control of that growth, we ask you to be mindful of how that happens and the impact it has on the people who are already living in the areas that would be most affected, and we will be most affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Additional comments? Yes, sir.
How you all doing today?
Good.
My name is Will Carter. I live at 36005 Tidewater Trail, which is the front face of Montague on 17 side. And the proposed entrance for this business is roughly 50 foot to the left side of my property. The widest portion on Montague, I went up with a measuring wheel myself, and I walked off that whole road. It is 17.1 feet wide, but it's only because of a ditch line that had been rutted for previous damage of someone running off the road. The road of Montague, which you've all heard that it's gravel. The entranceway, roughly 60 foot, is asphalt, but that is spider cracked and damaged also with potholes. What is not, was proposed last meeting that it was on a 6-year plan from VDOT. VDOT does not guarantee a 6-year plan for a gravel road because it does not contain asphalt. That is completely a false statement. That road also is overgrown with vegetation. At certain times of the year, VDOT does not cut vegetation because of bat season. So that runs 4 months during the fall and winter months. So they do not come out and cut any vegetation at all. So then you're asking VDOT to fall back and come cut this road that's been growing and no one's touched it, and you still have traffic on this road every day. The widest portion on Mount Prospect, if that is going to be the entryway, which would be the widest portion entryway for this business, is 19.5 feet wide. It's also in a blind curve to turn on to Montague. So a log truck would have to swing wide to turn on to Mount Prospect, which to turn on to Montague Road. If someone is coming towards 17 off of Mount Prospect, they won't see them until they get around the curve. I was literally just working on that road yesterday. So all these measurements that I have, I've calculated everything precisely. I was also told as of July 24, 2026, there's no conditional permit proposed for this project through VDOT. I will state 2 weeks ago, I heard heavy equipment working on the back road of Montague. So curiosity, I rode back there. The entranceway that is proposed for this business, it was a gentleman out there with agricultural herbicide spraying the entranceway. So if you don't have a permit for this business, why are you spraying entry points already? The pollution for the herbicide, you can cause runoff. As we know, the storms this year, so far during the summertime in the evenings, has produced a lot of rain. I know they said Cedar Creek was dry back when we had the last meeting. That is not the case now, because I walked back to myself. Cedar Creek actually is a tributary of the McCann's Bay. So when that runoff comes from Cedar Creek, it goes straight to the bay. So if you're spraying herbicide without the proper protocol of putting any kind of barrier for the runoff, you're already poisoning the watershed without the permits in place. The dust pollution. Now, with the road being gravel and you're having that much traffic with the heavy equipment and all back and forth, tracking trailers, that's going to cause all kinds of respiratory issues, and a lot of people on that road, as been stated before, are elderly. Imagine someone 80 years old, you're going to check your mail, a log truck whizzes by you, and you inhale a ton of dust. What kind of, long-term health issues will that cause for you if you got to breathe that in daily for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day? There's no kind of vegetation that you can put up to block that, not on that road, because it's already grown up with vegetation. So eventually the dust will kill the vegetation as well. Let me see, what else do I have here? The debarking is also another respiratory risk. So I used to work at a sawmill years ago, and a debarker is a very loud piece of equipment that can handle up to a 40-foot log at one time, and at least a 24-inch diameter. And if you're bringing that type of stuff in and you're debarking and you don't know where it's coming from, you're introducing different bacterial infections to people's lungs and everything, with mold spores. You don't know where the logs are coming from. They could have been sitting out in the weather. It then got saturated. Now you want to debark and you're putting this in the air for everybody to breathe. That can also be a long-term effect with breathing that stuff in, as the fungal spores as well can be invasive to your lungs. And the spraying the weed killer as well, I wanted to hit on that. That is a #1 cause of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And everyone's seen the advertisements for the Roundup and everything else. So if you're spraying this stuff without you all knowing, and they're proceeding to do what they want to do, what else will they do after they get the permit approved? That is not within standard. So I just ask that you all take into consideration everything that's going on prior to, and that will probably proceed after it is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments for the public hearing? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Board members, for the sake of all the folks that are here, I made this recommendation during our work session. That recommendation still stands now for the public that's here. It's not typical for us to take action on any of these items the same night we hear it, especially when we just got the information on Friday, which is when we received the information. We don't participate in the planning commission meetings for that very reason. So for the sake of you all not having to sit to when this actually comes up as an action item, is it the intent of this board to defer this to another meeting? As a majority goes, can we go ahead and make that now?
Yes.
Somebody like to make a motion to defer these two items?
So moved.
Second.
So a motion was made to take action on 202-60111 and 202-60184 to our September regular meeting. That's seconded by Joe.
Yeah.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. So folks, those that don't want to, you're welcome to stick around for the rest of our meetings if you want. Love to see people here, but it's still going to be a late night, so we'll give you a few minutes to get your stuff together and if you want to leave us tonight. I also encourage anybody that's here, if we haven't gotten information from you and you want to make comments and send them directly to the board, please send that to our county administrator. That goes for both the applicants and any citizens that have any concerns. All right, we'll move into our school superintendents, constitutional officers, and, well, our county administrator and agency reports, as well as our school superintendent, constitutional officer, and VDOT reports. Lisa, I would ask, would you guys be willing to let the schools go first, since our assistant superintendent and them have school tomorrow? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't get the public comments yet. All right, so we're all right, we'll get into our public comments. I thought we did have public comments. Each speaker shall provide his or her name and Essex County address for the record before addressing the board. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. At this point, I will open it up to public comment. Hearing none, we'll close public comment out.
Somebody got one. We have one.
Come on up. Gotta be quicker than that.
Take your time. That trumps you, Chairman. Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
My name is Raymond Whitaker. I reside at 145 Chinkopin Circle, Dunsville, Virginia. More affectionately, the South District. Okay. I want to talk about education. I'm a beneficiary of what it means to be lifted up from. Now, I came from a scenario where my father was a sharecropper. You know what that means. And thank God, Shaw University gave me an undergrad degree in mathematics. And then later on, I got a degree in administration and supervision. I say all of that as a background to what we're doing for our children now in Essex County Public Schools. Two of you hail from that area, our sheriff, some others. I am asking us to go back to the reality of what it means to educate our kids in Essex County. Even going back to pre-K and kindergarten. We need to make sure that we lift these, I heard people say, lift themselves up by the bootstraps. We ought to give these little children bootstraps so they can be lifted up. We ought to support our educators. I understand the difficulties we experienced this past year. I understand that. I'm not saying set aside everything, but what I am saying is let's come together, both boards, Board of Supervisors and the Essex School Board, come together so that we can educate our kids in 2026, 2027. Now, that is not to say that you haven't been doing a good job. I don't want to suggest that. What I'm saying is the task at hand. What can we do to come together like this and make provisional care for our kids, educational attainment of our kids? I am very proud of the fact that on the road that I live on, there's a young lady who's a product of the Essex County Public School who graduated, became a doctor in California, and guess what? She came back to this side of the country to continue her practice. She's a product of Essex County Public Schools. So I know that we can do it. We have made provisions. We have done all that we can to come together and support the educational attainment of our children. So I'm saying as professionals, very astute people, come together and support what it means to educate children. I don't want to get into the finance part, although I heard a good financial report on what you all have done with how you manage the fiscal aspect of this county. I commend you for that. All I'm asking is let's give each other a hand and lifting up one another so we can help the educational attainment of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker.
Thank
you. Any additional public comments? With that, I will close the public comments again. All right, with that, Ms. Bell?
All right. Good evening, board chairs, Board of Supervisors, members, and county manager, and all guests that are here. I'll go ahead and start today because we're excited the school has started. So if I could start with my quick update, that would be great, and then we'll go right into the presentation. We wanted to first of all say that we've had a great opening when we started with New Teacher Academy, which was July 28th and 29th. with 10 people on board, and then since then an additional 5, and every day we're hiring new people, so it's very exciting. Our focus, even during that time, has been on literacy and reading across the curriculum, not just in the reading classroom. We continued on with convocation, which started last week on August 3rd. We've had music, dancing, all kinds of things, but our focus then was on leading, loving, and learning. And with that, we also were excited. Mr. Henry was here representing the Board of Supervisors. Our chair was there, many leaders. And we've gotten so many people who are supporting what we're doing. And just to see people come out for various events has been very exciting. We then continue on with Teacher Work Week, which was August 4th through the 7th. And during that week, again, our focus has been on math and reading, really taking a serious focus as we've looked at our data, great professional development internally as well as with external stakeholders. And then, of course, lots of volunteers supporting that way as well, and getting on the same page. We've had open house at each of our schools, even at Tappahannock Elementary School. I believe the number, they were tallying the number of people. They had over 638 people to walk through Tappahannock Elementary School last week at open house. Fast Start program. We've now started our first day of school, which was yesterday. Great day, very smooth day, no students lost. We got them into school, fed them, got them home safe. You didn't have to have anybody, we didn't have to call Sheriff Holmes or anybody to seek out our babies. So our teams did a great job on that first day, and the same thing continued today. Now that we're in school, we have to continue. We've got Fast Start programs going on at every school, which means that they're challenging kids to not have any more than 1 absence, 0 office referrals, and great effort the first 30 days to earn field day, which is usually something that's held in the spring. We're trying to motivate and inspire our kids, and when you do that, they win. And in my experience as a turnaround principal of 3 different schools, I tell you it works, and we're implementing some of these strategies right now. We just need the support. We also have been partnered with the Rotary in many different instances, meeting with Aaron Kelly and Greg Huff recently, and we're actually hosting a workshop on Thursday that I'll be facilitating with them so that they can identify clear strategic ways that they can support our schools. And they've come out several times to try to get that help from us, and we're excited. So anyone here is invited to come as well to be a part of that work. Our enrollment as of today was 1,058 students, so we're coming along. And then we're also just ready for instruction. Right now, our focus again is on meeting with our instructional team. We have a math specialist who has been hired, literacy as well as one in social studies. And our focus right now is to help JCIS. They're the school that's in school improvement and providing instructional strategies to move them forward. And then again, we're also just excited about the school, the teams that we have, the programs that we have of students who are going to the governor's school, those in dual enrollment, those who are moving and making progress, athletics and sports, and so it's been a great start to our year. So that's my update and a quick notion because I know we have time, but that's where we are at this time. And so now going into our presentation on the budget update. This evening we're here to provide an update on the fiscal year 2027 budget for Essex County Public Schools. During the month of July as well as August, we engaged with a budget consultant to develop needs-based budget. This presentation will highlight the General Assembly's adopted budget and the school's requested budget for 2027. This evening we'll also provide pertinent information regarding this budget and briefly discuss the finalized biennial state budget that was adopted on June 29th, which resulted in changes to state and local funding when comparing to the initial budget that was presented to the Board of Supervisors June of 2026. And then the remaining slides will provide an in-depth look at some of the budget development. And then we'll get to the appendices, that section of the presentation, which gives a lot of content and details about the various funding opportunities, as well as some of the justification for the appropriation of the funds we'd like to seek. Okay, next slide. So the Commonwealth of Virginia's biennial budget, as we said, was 2026 through 2028 and was adopted on June 29th, 2026. This particular slide shows an overview of five-year revenue of the state funds that have come in as well as the county funds that have gone into our general fund. With the biennial, the LCI for Essex increased. And so with this increase, Essex will see less from the state aid during the next 2 fiscal years and a little bit more from the local. To better understand the LCI for those who are listening, At .05, Essex County will be responsible for local revenues covering almost 53% of the budget of the standards of, what we call them SOQ, which are standards of quality costs. The state will cover the remaining 47, and in the last 2 previous years, Essex County was responsible for 41.89, and the state paid 58. So with the change, Essex will be paying about 11% over the previous year's funding. So in slide 5, next please. In this slide, we have the, prior to the General Assembly's adopted budget, the supervisors' advertised budget included state funding in the amount of $6,995,084, and the local share in the amount of $5,424,949 when using the calc tool, which is the tool we use to calculate basic funding for schools. And so this slide provides an overview of the General Assembly's adopted budget with the school's requested funding, and the requested funding is all on the right side. And I know it's a little tiny for you all to see, but using this ADM of 1,025. So we typically stay around the 1,025 enrollment for our students, and so we use that as we try to calculate the funding for the district. The amount noted under the General Assembly's budget includes textbooks. So the advertised budget, advertised funding by the Board of Supervisors, in that particular one, it didn't include the textbooks at the time. But using this information generated by using information in the calc tool, state funding increased to $7,083,412, and local funding decreased to $5,500,017. So it's a total of $12,583,429. And if you're able to look at the chart, the very first 3 columns to the right, that last with the first bold line right above that, that's where we're talking about the 12.5 million. But also on this slide, you'll see a section right in that section right there, where after the first bold line that goes goes horizontal, it says programs not included in the advertised budget. So today I'll provide a rationale this evening why this funding is necessary, because we're starting with the appropriate amount of 12.5, but we want to also give some details in just a moment about why the additional funding is necessary for our kids. The additional funding is available in the following areas. There's funding for compensation supplement, technology grants, special education add-on, at-risk, K-3 class size reduction, BPI, and infrastructure and operations per pupil fund. Under the section the school board is requesting is an additional $4,833,182, which is over the $12 million, or I'm just going to give 12.5. We'll just say that for a total of 17.4. And the reason being is that to effectively run the school division, the state and local revenue equate to 12.5 million. And the areas in the prior years, which we mentioned earlier, all the other areas like BPI and all those things, those equate to the 4.9 that we're requesting. So currently the division spends approximately $1.2 million every month just on payroll. With the current funding appropriated, the division will not be able to effectively operate because payroll alone will cost $14 million. So as you see, we're appropriating we've been appropriated 12.5, but we're already at a shortfall because the payroll is 14.4. So next slide, please. So this one, we just took a look. This is even smaller. We were hoping if you have a package, if you're online, you could see it. But this is really the calc tool. So this is a document that we've been working with our Board of Supervisors teammates. Oh, that's why you're pulling it up. Thank you. To try to, so the information you just saw on the multicolored document is very much the same on this particular document, but the format is what we agreed to use to work with as a team. So you'll see in here that, but as you go down a little further, you'll notice that this shows the same data. We just wanted to show it in the form that the county prefers for review. So you'll see the budget amounts, you'll see the lottery funded programs, which are the additional items like the at-risk and special education, as well as early childhood, et cetera. Okay? We'll go back to the presentation. Thank you. So those documents mirror. We just wanted to be able to show both options. So we go to the next slide on at-risk. So at-risk includes the SOQ and lottery for a total of $3 million. And at-risk is designed to incorporate at-risk students support for those who are low income or educationally disadvantaged students. The purpose of the fund is to fund programs, prevention, intervention, remediation services for our students and students at risk of failing academically. So if we don't have funding, we're really going to hurt our students. There are 3 schools here in our division, and they're noted as conditionally accredited by the Virginia Department of Ed, where Tappahannock Elementary School has also been noted as off track. So I will just stop here just real quick. So I think in the past, people have thought about being accredited. Accredited used to mean based on your performance. If you had 70% across the board, like in your math, science, and social studies, and 75% in your reading of students passing, that was accredited. Accredited doesn't mean that anymore. Accredited now means that you are a school that has been compliant. You have the exact number of teachers, credentials, all of those things. And so it's important that I did want to bring that up because that's something that a lot of people don't understand. In my opinion, it hasn't been advertised as much as well for clarity. And then the off track, that is the part, whether you're distinguished or you're on track or you're off track, those are the criteria that determine whether you're performing well or not. So right now, we have the elementary school is currently off track, but the middle and the high school are on track. So as people are saying various things about our schools, we have 2 of those schools that are on track, and many schools across the state of Virginia, if you look them up, they're not on track. So we're actually doing pretty well, but we want to focus on the elementary school and improving that. So the additional funding, as we talked about, will be helpful in those areas to support our students. So the board, we're requesting the additional 4.8 over the 12.5 for the total of 17.4. Let's see. Here also in this fund, I just want to note that at TES, 31% of the students need intervention. VALS group, that's the testing that we have with kids in the beginning of the year. They're from August to March, because of intervention, kindergarten students, there were 25% of them made growth. 31 out of 31 students in first grade made growth. 22 of them in second, as well as 27. Now that just means the number that needed it to make growth, not the ones who just took the test in general. So there is the difference. On the SOLs, 33% of the students who received intervention passed. So what would have happened if those students did not? So we're not giving a total, but of the students who need the intervention, an additional 33% passed their assessments. And we use those funds also for curriculum like Benchmark and Lexia, and we try to comply with the Office of School Quality with the DOE. Next slide, please. From the SPED add-on, this is another program that provides support for our students with disabilities. And actually, this particular area is calculated at an extra percentage increase that's relative to the basic per pupil. And that's sometimes based on the intensity level of some of our students, and so we need some additional funding for that. And overall, in the district, we have 18% of our students are students with disabilities. And so funding has been requested and prorated for that. In the compensation supplement, this area we're requesting funding for $197,000. Essex Schools has utilized the same salary schedule for the last 2 fiscal years to place employees on the appropriate step. With the finalized state budget, up to 4% raises were awarded to SOQ funded positions. So we had the ability to award up to 4%. However, while compensating employees is a priority to recruit and to retain, the division is just requesting a 2% COLA for this particular fiscal year. So with the 2% increase, the funding included has been prorated for the funding that could be provided. So again, we want to remain competitive. As you can see, this particular year has been a very difficult year for Essex. So many teachers, it was, flight or fright. They were a little afraid of all the things that were happening. We lost a lot of staff, and it was over 125% difference in losing staff this school year than it was last school year. And so we look at trying to be competitive. With salaries, we're lower. Essex, starting salary at $49,900. Westwood lower than Westmoreland at $52,500. Northumberland, they're starting with $50,300. Matthews has a $52,000 salary start. Richmond County at $50,000 and King and Queen at $50,000. Essex is last. Next slide, please. Under technology, we're seeking 153 or more funding for that. Virginia Public School Authority provides funding to support instructional tools, computer-based SOL testing, high-speed internet connectivity, lots of telecommunication, repairs, devices, all of those. And also in the class size reduction, that funding provides school divisions to help keep the class sizes down. And we've gone back and forth about how much we really need or not. Right now, we're doing okay. But with TES being conditionally accredited, we're really keeping our eye on that and the funding source that might be needed. Next, please. Infrastructure and operations were, that was just an example, I'm showing a chart that just shows you that ideally the ratio for class sizes should be 24:1. However, under the SOQ, the max is 29 or 30, depending on. Okay, next slide. These are just some examples we were just sharing that are also online for everyone, so you can just review instead of going line by line to save time. Next slide. So under infrastructure operations, this is the area that provides direct per-student financial support to school divisions for technology, infrastructure, operational costs, routine maintenance, utilities, constructions, buses, building additions. Next, please. With the Virginia Preschool Initiative, another area that we're requesting funding, it has not been funded so far, will be to provide school divisions to provide quality preschool programming for our at-risk 3- and 4-year-old children who are underserved by the federal Head Start program. The purpose of the funding is to reduce disparities among our young children. And Essex has identified students at this time. And so we have increased over the last 4 years from being a district with 51% economic deprivation to 70%. So the more we have situations where our community is experiencing poverty, the more we need to respond to the call to support. Next slide, please. So unfunded programs that don't require, so these are just some of the programs that we need funding, but they don't need a match. We want to make sure we're supporting our students who might need to take the GED, ISEP route, CTE equipment, mentor programs, Mental School Corp, as well as other agencies. Next slide, please. That was it. So ideally, when we talk about the budget today, to summarize, for the fiscal year 27 budget proposal, the division is requesting $17,979,985 from Fund 1, which is the general, $1 million from the Fund 2, which is grants, $880,494 from Fund 3, which is school nutrition, with an ask of $19,860,479. Try to go through quickly, just consider the time that we have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Couple of quick questions, clarification questions. The 1,058 ADM, does that include preschool?
It does not, it does include preschool, and I think in that number today, I want to say it was 38, I believe, were preschool today.
So we're already lower than the ADM,
So
that's
1,023 is whatever it was. When you subtract it, that's the number I wrote in my book, 1,023 without preschool.
So we're already below our ADM,
Just about 2 students.
because typically we'll see a drop throughout the year by some other amount.
Okay.
So just want to clarify that. Another comment that you talked about with the pay and class scales, I know you mentioned we're lower than surrounding areas, but that is a pay and class scale issue, not a pay issue, because I don't think we have any teachers, what I see, that are actually at that lower level.
We have, well, especially those who are coming in first year, yes. If you're looking at 26, 27, like for the fiscal year, this year, we're starting a brand-new teacher who hasn't had any experience at that. So yes, that is
But didn't the
there
school,
are contracts that have
didn't
that.
the school board do a new pay and class study, or new pay and class scale? So nobody under contract this year should be under,
I think we're still at 49, but it wasn't, it's still 49.9 is what the document said for that.
so as it,
If they had a raise or something, it would be higher. But
my understanding was there was a increase on the pay and class study that the board adopted. Because I agree with you, the pay and class scale needs to
Right.
be adjusted because it hasn't been adjusted in 2 years.
Correct.
But that
correct.
doesn't mean nobody's gotten raises in 2 years. I just want to clarify that.
Right, right.
Increases have been given every year
Right. It was a 1%. I know there's a 1%, and then the 1% step. We'll focus on that.
for
Yes.
last year, right? But for the public's awareness, I don't want people to think that there hasn't been raises given. They've been given every year.
Right.
The pay and class scale hasn't been adjusted, but
Correct.
raises have been given.
Right, and there's been some documents like that we've had to work on and adjust, so, yes.
Yeah, a lot of this documentation, we're just seeing some of this now. We really haven't had time to digest it. I know stuff was coming in today. We got some stuff
Which part
later.
would that be? I think the only thing that was different was the presentation was the same, but we just shortened, but we've had the presentation, everything in since Friday.
So
This
I
is
know
our due
I
date.
saw some things on Friday night, so I had a couple of questions about that. So as
Okay.
long as nothing changed in the data.
No,
my
we
questions-
just shortened the
my
presentation.
questions
I
will
asked
still be
Ms.
pertinent then.
Yeah,
That
we
was
just
my
asked her
concern.
if it was okay, because we saw so many things on the agenda. That way, and I know the calc tool there is one of the areas you focus on the most instead of some of the other.
So when I looked at, and I'm trying to pull up that document, there's a lot
Okay.
here. And I'll find it in a second, administration, or instruction is lower than what was budgeted for last year, and administration was higher. So what's being recommended for budget this year as opposed to last year, instruction's lower, administration's higher, and I guess I'm just looking for the justification behind that.
Okay. And I will confirm, but I believe in some of the administration, that's actually some of the staffing for administration. But as far as administration, we actually don't have, we're actually only a few people even in our central office, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure. And it should be, it shouldn't be as high, but it is, instruction is 62%. But I believe some of that administration comes in from some of the staff. We have our math specialists, literacy, well, 2 literacy specialists on board. But we can confirm the category again.
And when I looked at the calc tool, one of the things I see differently, and I'm not sure why this is, but one of the things the General Assembly did was with the RLE programs, they split the at-risk
Okay.
between your SOQ and the lottery program. That's not shown in your presentation. In my interpretation of this, what that means is that the General Assembly is mandating that localities pay for this larger portion of this at-risk without being an optional program. But as it's being proposed in your presentation, it's more like it's optional, and I don't believe it is because of where it falls with the General Assembly. So I show a required amount by the county to need to be $6,971,007 as an adjustment. So I'd like us to be able to validate that, because if that's a requirement of the county, that's automatically what we need to have to meet state requirements.
Okay, you check in reference to the at-risk?
Yeah, I just
We
pulled
have
up,
a split here on the calc tool that we talked about.
I've got the exact, this
Okay.
came off the state's calc tool now, and it's
Okay.
got a portion of the at-risk in the SOQ portion of it, which is what we're required, and then there's a portion in the lottery program. And
Yes.
it says it's split funded.
Yes,
$1,271,401 from the state and $1,430,258.
I do believe the state's calculation tool available on the website lumps some of the optional programs into the SOQ
Okay.
yes.
When they should be-
rows.
When they should be separated out?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yes, we did.
So, one of the things that we have, as a board, we need to understand, one is what changed from the General Assembly that we have to meet as a absolute requirement from the state, and then a decision on the requirements of the optional programs. Both Vice Chairman Gill and myself sat down with the School Finance Committee and Ms. Bell. One of my recommendations was to bring us the optional programs individually, because there's certain programs that don't require local match, and quite frankly, they really shouldn't require much deliberation on our part at all, because it's all state funded. Unfortunately, we don't have that with us tonight, so what's being requested is a full amount. I don't know that I'm ready to make that, but I'll defer any of my additional questions right now back to the board.
And if I would also share, though, in reference to that, I think the whole team, everybody knows that we do not have a finance director. Those budget action forms, you have to have specific codes. We don't have access to that information. I've requested and asked for support from Ms. McIntyre as well. I don't have that at this point, but we're making efforts. We don't have finance. We just got a full-time payroll specialist. divisions don't operate the way we are. Right now, I'm working with 4 or 5 roles myself as a superintendent. You can't pass this role to anybody. I'm just being very honest. So we're not trying to be defiant or not to, participate, but we don't have the access to the exact codes, and we don't want to code something to the incorrect location.
And I'm not referring
So
to.
I don't have a
I'm
problem
not referring to
doing
the
that.
budget action forms. I mean specifically.
Right.
And this goes beyond you. This budget should have been completed months and months and months ago before you ever got here. So
Understand.
I'm not pointing any blame.
Right, but
I'm just saying there's
it belongs to me now, so I have to
But
take
there's
ownership.
opportunities for us
Right.
to get additional funding within the school, and I
Okay.
think what's gonna happen is there are programs like this compensation supplement. I don't have enough data to whether I would support that or not, based on knowing where the pay scales and things have gone, and how mismatched things have been, with years of service, and certain teachers being paid a lot more, and certain paying a lot less. I don't know that that's been corrected, and I would have a hard time approving an optional program for a 2% COLA overall if you've already got people that are making too much. And I just think that's disproportionate to those that are actually on the scale versus those that are way off of it. And that will go true to anything that requires county matching funding because our budget's already set. But those programs that don't require local match really shouldn't be any discussion for us much that we wouldn't be able to approve and get that additional funding already appropriated, was my only point. So that would either have to be something that we would take the initiative to break out and do that, or have the school present it to us in a way as, here's the optional programs we'd like you to approve that don't require any local match. Here's the other programs. So, but with that, I'm gonna open up to might be other questions from other board members.
Could I also ask which ones are, you've mentioned that the compensation supplement is one that you're not comfortable with. Is there something else? Because that's a salary piece, I'm just wondering, but
Yeah, the K-3 class size reduction, we haven't been able to meet that in the past. That's.
Okay, so actually, recently, when I had to submit the SSWS, I actually declined that. So that's a 300, I think it was on either Friday or Monday, that we wouldn't, because we wouldn't meet that, so we wouldn't have, that's funding, we'll be saved by not.
But that's not in what's being proposed here. That reduction is
Because
not.
these were we had to present this on Friday.
Understand.
But we can adjust whatever, but that would be a little bit of a say. And we
Yeah.
tried to make, where can we cut and reduce at some point, and because we feel like right now we can manage what we have. But we just tried to make a good faith effort in some way, not just trying to ask for every dollar, but how can we also try to compromise on something? And that was
Understand.
one.
But those are,
But I
again,
can
that's.
update that, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my point, is there's things that I think when it comes to the county funding, issues that we ran into previously is we haven't been able to hit those things, but yet the county's already obligated that money, the taxpayer dollars, even though we didn't get the state dollars to match it. So that's my only point. But I'll lead to other board members, see if there's other comments, questions.
I can
Ron?
answer. I don't want to get ahead of anybody. Because I was on the budget committee with
Yeah.
Chairman Akers, and I appreciate your presentation tonight, Ms. Bell, and also school board members, Chair Gomes and Charmaine Hunley. So, as I said in the meeting, I'm looking at the spreadsheet, I'm not sure what page it was, on the, where we adopted the $12.5 million budget
Yes, sir.
back at the beginning of the year. Well, it was April, I guess, prior to the end of the fiscal year. And as we know, the state did pass its budget at the end of June, and that SOQ requirement has gone up. That's an automatic, we have to provide that. But in what I'm looking at, if it's the same, and it's a lot of numbers here, but it looks like with the incentive programs, programs not included in the SOQ section of the calc tool, you're asking, the overall budget will go from 12.583 to 17.466. And stop me anywhere that I'm missing it, but I think I heard in the end of your presentation, your budget request was actually 19 million. So I'm trying to reconcile again, as I said in the meeting, I need to see the numbers and they're still not matching up. Well, and maybe it's me, I don't know. But if I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the spreadsheet here, school board requested columns on the right-hand side, what the General Assembly adopted on the left-hand side. we would be providing a local share increase of about 2.5 million. Now, stop me where I'm wrong in all this.
So I think the additional piece comes from the $1 million grant. That's not in there when we add that to it,
Okay,
as well as the $880,494 child nutrition
okay,
amount.
all right. But again, can we have that in one
Add it all
format?
into one, yes. So adding those back into that, okay.
Well, the grant part
Okay.
is not gonna be our obligation. The $1 million grant?
Right, right, But there's one of the documents in there, you have that has the summary of all funds, that's where that's found, to
Okay.
identify where those come from.
So I guess
But I
right
can see what you're
now,
saying. You just want both of those to go.
I'm sorry if I interrupted. I guess right now, I just need to know exactly what budget, written down, what budget we are asked to approve. And I saw a lot of numbers tonight. I'm looking at this spreadsheet here, which breaks it down into the categories. But I just need to know exactly what our local share is gonna be. We'll appropriate the whole amount, state and local,
Okay.
far as the budget's concerned, but we need to see that breakdown. Again, I may be missing something, because again, I have not spent the time into it that you have and your group, but I need to see exactly what the final numbers are. And broken down with the budget action forms, we can itemize it out, as Chairman Akers said. I'm fine with that as well. And if we need to prepare and prepare the codes and whatnot, this is very important. I would think that we should, I mean, if we can't wait till next month, we could call a special meeting. But, but we just need to see the definitive numbers that are not commingled, or one page says one thing and one page says another. I just need to see, again, breaking it down by categories was supposed to simplify it for this board. And I don't know whether it's done that, to be honest.
I think it has, except for those two we just talked about.
Okay,
Yes, I think it has, I would
Okay.
have to say. And that would be the grants and the child nutrition piece, what have you, so.
well, I do remember that
Yes.
discussion.
Yes.
I just didn't see it in my presentation.
Okay.
And maybe I missed it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And one of the things that we don't, so for example, I know we appropriated initially 73% or 74% for instruction. What's being requested is, on this document, this summary of all funds is 62.8% for instruction.
Okay.
And the previous year, it was closer to 65% for instruction. So I'm trying to understand how that's going down while others is going up. And it may be some classification changes that have happened, but I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
But if I'm looking at it on the surface from a board position, I think instruction needs to go higher and other things need to go lower, and I'm seeing the opposite happen on this budget. Other board members?
I have one comment just to clarify something for Vice Chairman Gill. I've been talking with Pam Bell,
Okay.
and the budget forms or these codes, that's not an issue as far as holding anything up. Nita was on vacation, but I told Pam we'd be happy to provide those forms for her with the numbers, email them to her for signature, and
Thank you.
send them back over. So we are doing what we can as far as the process and mechanics, but the numbers belong to school board to give to
Yeah,
you.
those are technical things.
That's right.
Shouldn't, yeah.
But we're doing whatever we can to work together.
Sure.
And I guess the question will have to be, so if it doesn't say 72%, does that mean that the 62% is not meaningful? I'm just trying, because you're gonna vary things, you know,
I anticipated that. I don't know that
Okay.
you guys could do the 70-something%
Mhm.
for instruction. But what I
and
would,
sometimes I'm sorry to cut you off, sometimes that's a bunch of stuff. We don't need stuff, we need people, you know, to really move a school around. And so I hesitate to say, okay, I would not be doing due diligence to say, okay, we need to increase our instruction and buy a bunch of stuff that sits on shelves, because that's what happens all the time in schools across, in my experience. And so I prefer manpower, I prefer professional PD, those types of people who can actually help with boots on the ground work. If they don't have another sheet, they need a quality person or persons supporting their work and teaching them and making sure that they're getting that extra remediation and that interview. Those are the things that come. It's not that other stuff. So I just wanted to say that that might be even why, because I don't believe in a lot of stuff. So
Again,
I don't want
I don't
to, that's
have
not
a way
holding
to-
the budget because it's not making a 17%. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's not 17%, it's the fact that year over year, the percentage of funds allocated toward instruction is going down. And that's what I can't wrap my head around without an understanding as to why that, because it's typically been budgeted higher and the amount that's spent's been much less.
Is that because of the different types of grants? So say for example, you have TPS.
I'm not gonna know that.
Well, I'm just sharing. I'm just giving you some ideas why that might be. So I looked at the data and I've noticed over the last 4 years that, and so it's not like a 1 year. If you look at the data of SOL achievement, you'll see that there's hit or miss spots. We've been doing okay, but it's actually almost been pretty consistent. You've had some good hot spots in the high school performance and all of that, but we can pull it up, we can share that data, but that might be part. So if that's the case, in places where there's school improvement, that's where you have school improvement funds. That's where the Office of School Quality is coming. So some of those things, like the SIG grants and those things, those aren't like county funded. But there's other programs that are coming because you have to get some funds because of those situations. So we can analyze it a little further to be sure, since that is a concern and wanting to know why. I don't mind doing that research
Yeah,
to get it.
if we look at
But-
all the categories.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I see operations and maintenance going up, when I see administration going up, and I see instruction going down, it just sends up a red flag.
And I'll tell you, with
It has to.
operations, it's gonna keep going up, because we have buses. I have them doing a whole out loud for me right now on buses, how old they are, the
Well, that's
mileage of
capital.
cars.
That's
So
capital.
that's in the capital piece. Okay, we'll find out. We can give you specifics, but, go ahead.
I just want to add one item for the administration going up, instruction going down. There was a recategorization of some positions who serve the entire division, but their focus is instruction, but they were moved to the administrative section of the budget. And that happened back in March, April, when the budget was first being developed. So we could put them back into the instruction section, and that will bring that back down.
I mean, I would do whatever's right, which is, I mean, you want to see your instruction grow, your
Right.
amount going toward instruction grow. When it shows the other way, it sends off the wrong vibe. To me, it's just understanding what it is. But asking to appropriate funds, if you see, if I've got $100 to spend, and last year you asked me to give you 75 for instruction, and this year you're asking me to give you 50, and I have a hard time doing that and pay for some of these other things like operations and administration. That's what I struggle with without understanding it. So that's where I think we need to understand it.
And that's what I was alluding to, is the people. You know, we have the specialists who are actually leading the instructional efforts. But if we, and they're an administrative team because they're central office-driven people who deploy to the schools and not school-based. So, but if, we don't want to play games with it. It is actually, they're people and they're central. So we're just trying to be transparent about what it is. And I know people who don't do that. So I'm not going to do what we shouldn't be doing. So that's really where those folks should be. They are those who have to have different types of certifications so that they can lead, and their salaries actually dictate that as well, that they should be leading our instruction. So that's where they are.
Can I have one more question? The school board has approved the $19,860,479 budget. Is that correct?
When we approved the budget, I think in May, yes, that was the full number. And that included the grants and the child nutrition.
And that's in your minutes and all that?
Yes.
And you have a document as well.
John?
Okay. Chairman Akers and Supervisor Gill, thank you for being on the financial part of it. You guys are in depth. You've touched on a lot of the concerns that I had. I do want to say that when I sat down to look at my board packet, this information was not uploaded. I'm pretty confident that our county administrator and staff, if it was given to them in due time, not at the last minute on Friday, that they would have posted it by then. I did not see this till Monday morning. So it wasn't on there until Monday morning. So, I appreciate the comment, but I'm going to be a little defensive of my staff and all, that I didn't see it until Monday morning. So again, I have not had enough time to study this. And looking it over, a lot of numbers, things don't jive and match. So that's my first comment. So I'm not ready to make any decision or do anything tonight. So.
Well, just for clarity,
Please, if I'm in wrong, tell me. I'm
no,
okay
a
with it.
a budget amendment of this size will require a public hearing and
Okay. That makes
advertised
it even better.
notices, so
That's true.
it's actually impossible for the board to take action on a budget amendment request tonight.
I also share Chairman Akers' concern about the instruction that what the Board of Supervisors appropriates money. You decide how it's spent. So if you want to categorize and people and put that in administration, that's great and all. You still can spend it on stuff, as you called it, that sits on the shelf, gathers dust, or you can hire people. That is your choice. So I would encourage that you get closer to that 71% that we have categorized in instruction. Am I correct on 71%?
It was higher, it was like 73.
73,
74.
I encourage you to hire more of those sped teachers that you need, more of the, if you want to reduce classroom size and you need to hire more teachers, that's what that instruction money's for. You guys, school board gets to decide that. And I encourage them that, but they can do what they want. I just want the public to know, we appropriate money, you decide how it's spent. So, I understand the requests, and I agree with Chairman Akers again. If you have additional requests, come to us with that. What I like to see is, where have you looked for grants? What cuts have you made elsewhere, or efficiencies have you found to help fund it? And what are you still short? And what is the result of that money going to, what is the rate of return, is a good way to put it. You know, what are you expecting to get out of it, and how are you going to track that? Because the taxpayers want to know. We don't want to just throw money at things, it didn't work, and then we got to throw more money at something else. We want to see, that's what the taxpayers want. Do they know this money's being spent well? And that's got to be tracked, that's got to be known. You have to have an expectation, and then have you met that expectation? So just make those comments. I know there's a lot of things going on right now, and it's tough. Pam, you said that the school board adopted the budget June 29th. If I heard correctly, and now I'm hearing it's in May.
The state. That
The
was
state one. Okay, so they had to adopt it at that point.
State.
So, and I understand things changed around, so that made it. And to Chairman Akers' point, whatever the SOQ additional is, I think we're obligated, and that's fine. But I'd like to see requests come back for individual things, tell us how it's gonna work and how that's gonna be tracked, that it's a successful program, rather than just, money's not gonna solve a lot of these issues. It's really gonna be execution, it's gonna be administration, leadership, and a lot of things like that. So it's gonna take a lot. But I think you can do it.
The SOQ portion is about 6.9 million now.
6.9, okay. So, anyway, those are just a couple quick comments, thank you.
I would just have to still just to share on behalf of our staff, we only ask for things that we know are gonna help us to drive the data. And so our ending measure is the measure of our VALS assessments from growth. Our ending measure is our SOL testing. Our ending measure is our dropout prevention, our graduation rates. So we drive that, as you said, the division should figure out how that's done. So we're asking that we give you all the instructions to that, because our division is driving just that. We don't want to be anywhere else but the best. So those are our goals. And so With all of these, that whole at-risk piece for 3 million and all of that, that helps to drive those numbers. So that's really what it is about. So I do want the public to know that is on our radar all the time. Our executive leadership team meets every Monday. You know, we met today, of course, yesterday was the first day of school. Our school teams are also, they have a cadence of meetings too, to be able to monitor instruction, monitor that data. How do they then identify which kids need intervention? So that's what our world is every day. And especially when you're working, and you're dictated to do that when you have schools that are in school improvement and you're working with the Department of Education. There are certain requirements, there are caps that we have to apply. So there are a lot of metrics that we do follow. So I don't want people to think we're asking and we're just, you know, whatever, because that's definitely not the case. There's more data tracking and education than probably any area here in the county.
Good.
Yes.
True, Calvin, anything to add?
I just got one question. I promise you, ain't about the budget. I just want you, could you answer, Tim, you said TES is off track, and is that because of
Performance.
what? Performance?
Yes.
And that, is that due to the lack of personnel to give instruction, or it's just something that happens?
If I wasn't here
All right, I got
last
you.
year, right? But I can tell you, right now, TES has, and again, we have to look at a whole big picture. There are 6 vacancies
Okay,
at that school.
okay,
And not just the vacancies, but the positions that we've, you know, tried to fill. Many of those are by people who were able to help us to do subbing.
okay.
When you have this fight or flight, like I shared, it's a long road to catch up
Got
from
it.
that. And we as a community have caused that.
Understand.
We've got to be able to work together because as I ask each person, hey, why are you leaving? The feedback I've gotten, that's what it is. And so how do we fix that? So I don't want us to be accountable as a school division when we're trying to get people in the classroom to love up on kids and do the best they can and train them. But we can't keep having things happen to people like, I don't want to be in Essex because of all the, you know, the things that are happening. That's unfair. That's unfair for us to even, you know. So I just say to you that is about tracking, it's about performance, it's really the best thing, the best indicator of success is a great teacher in the classroom.
Okay, thank you.
And sometimes that's not even certified.
I just got one other question. On your sped pop, I noticed it said JCIS is higher than the elementary and the high school. Is
Just
that
numbers.
because?
It's just numbers.
Oh,
It
just
might happen
numbers?
to be 40
Okay.
kids at middle and maybe 32 at high. That's what that means.
Oh, okay,
Just the actual number of students who have an IEP.
okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
The other, back on the budget here and what the request is, to Max's point, with an increase of that magnitude require a public hearing. Whereas if we took things in smaller bites, it would not require a public hearing, correct? I mean, for example, we've got on our agenda tonight for VPI. And, is it a SIG on there as well? I think it's just VPI.
I saw a SIG at that.
But those are also in this total number of requests. So if those go through and pass tonight, these numbers need to go down. And with those, if you took out the compensation supplement, which doesn't prevent from giving raises to staff, that's just, if the county gives a certain amount, the state will match a certain amount. Doesn't preclude you from giving raises, it just says this is what the state will give, but the county's gotta give a greater piece to get that done. And you take out, as you had mentioned, the K-3 primary class size reduction, that lowers the total amount by almost $1 million, $964,105. So I think this overall ask needs to be changed based on the things that we've already know we've submitted and asked for approval. And it may be that the next time it comes around, it's not as big of a change.
Overall, any amendment that exceeds 1% of total expenditures requires public hearing, advertisement, the whole kit and caboodle. Amendments could be requested for, programmatic elements. This board's appropriation is not necessarily specific to programmatic elements. It can be done by classification, major class. So it's, the short answer is yes. If any amendment were to be less than 1%, it would not require a public hearing.
Yeah, as presented, it would require a public hearing for us to do this. Which that goes into our advertisement and having the public hearing and taking the actions. And for that, we definitely want all the stuff to be right. Otherwise, we have to go back and advertise it again.
How long is that process? And just for guidance so that the community knows.
Well, public
how
hearings,
Are we to utilize any funding? Because I don't want to be, you're using money that you don't have. So we need guidance on that as well. So.
the cost is inconsequential for the public hearing part of it, which will get worked into our regular meetings, but you have, is it 2 weeks?
It is a normal 2 weeks with, 6 days in between. So it takes about a month to get the advertisements into the paper and done.
You could make adjustments as long as it doesn't exceed the amount advertised.
So essentially what's been appropriated already was, with the grants and everything, was about 1.5 million, or $15 million. So that means as long as you don't go over $1.5 million, which this does, then you wouldn't have to have that public hearing. Now that.
Well, it's actually the county's total expenditures, not just the school board. So the number is, I don't know, I'm a lawyer, not a mathematician, so whatever 1% of
6 million.
5.5 million.
of that's the county's total expenditures?
That's what we appropriated, is 5.5.
Before tonight, yeah.
No, the county's total budget expenditure. So 28, 30 million, I don't know what.
I got you. So 28 million.
It's about. I
So
think it's about
283,
26.
I don't know, $300,000.
So
I don't know
$2.8
what
million.
one.
I don't have any more, I don't have more questions. I know we have those other things coming up tonight. And I'm sure we'll end up meeting it as committees to kind of go through some of this stuff. And I think we just have to look at it a little bit harder. And again, this isn't pointing blame at anybody. It's not anything accusatory. I agree with what Mr. Whitaker said. He says, what does it mean, to educate our kids and support our educators, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. And I also believe that our job is to make sure we're using the best tax dollars to do that, and that it is going for the kids and for the educators. And I'm not doubting that's happening, but we have to have that assurance. And unfortunately, for years and years, we've been assured things and not gotten it. And so, yes, we'll ask some of those harder questions now, especially when it requires local dollars. But again, there's a lot of things in here that don't require local dollars. It should just be an easy request and an easy approval. So I'm thinking to get that funding right away, that'd be an easier ask up front.
Chairman Akers, I think Calvin had a.
I just want to make a comment. And don't take this the wrong way, but I run a business. Y'all are educating their students, which is a business in itself. There's no way you can run any kind of business without a budget. That is the primary goal. That should have started in February. The budget should have been done and presented to the Board of Supervisors in the fashion that they requested numerous times. Because you can't fund all these programs without knowing where you start from. That's my take on it. It's frustrating for me because you can't just ask for money when you don't know where the rest of the money is. And that's all I got to say.
Appreciate it. Well, thank you all. Okay. Let's get our other big one out of the way. And that is the EDA. So thank you guys for passing and pushing it along. So
We are happy to accommodate you because you've always been very accommodating of us. So I have to congratulate you all on your fiscal management. The report that Mr. Cole gave earlier was very impressive, and that, you've made a lot of changes in recent years, and you're in very good fiscal condition. And I want to be respectful of that because we have our own budget. It's small compared to what we've been hearing tonight, but I want to also be respectful of the demands that we're putting on the county for staff, and that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight, is the EDA's reliance upon the technology staff. They have been very supportive of us. I should say April's been very supportive of us, allowing us to use technology staff. They've been supporting our meetings, and particularly since we moved to the school board building last fall, due to the changes going on in administration offices, attending our meetings. With the discovery that Ring Central could provide AI summaries and do a version of minutes for it, we started asking the staff to do it. I want to say we're going to cut back from that. I want to try to reduce our reliance upon the technology staff. But we really do need them. For example, the last 2 meetings we've had over at the school board, the technology just stopped right in the middle. Supervisor Gill often participates remotely, or we have an EDA member who's out of town who wants to participate remotely. And he wasn't able to give his report and hear what we were doing. So the technology connectivity over at the school board building is quite challenging. And so if we have a staff person there, they can help us reconnect, or maybe we could come back over here where connectivity is much better. We also occasionally ask technology staff for support. And again, April last week approved a telephone number dedicated to the EDA. We've actually been using Woody's number as kind of the public number for EDA, and that's not appropriate. We need an ongoing, we're dealing with businesses now, contractors, so we're delighted to have that. And that meant that Woody has a Ring Central account. So he will be able to reduce our need for technology staff to set up our EDA monthly meetings, because we have to have that Ring Central connectivity. So I'm trying to reduce our demands on technology staff, but we really do need them. Sometimes we also need them for a short-term project. Example being an application to the Virginia Economic Development Partnership so that Essex County could be considered as an Opportunity Zone 2.0. The governor has to select certain counties, certain census districts within the state to qualify for this federal program that we could use, for example, to get additional funding for Rotary Poorhouse Park. The census tract that's eligible runs from the North District up to and around West Side, and would include Rotary Poorhouse Park. I'm not saying we'll get it, but without the help of Carlos Disla and his technology skills with GIS, again, April approved that for us. So I'm here today just to ask for ongoing technology support at our meetings so that we can ensure that connectivity, and then for occasional, as I call them, one-offs when we need support for technology staff, and and try to figure out a way that's most convenient and not burdensome for the county administrator or the staff. So that's one request I have tonight.
With that, what I'll say with that is, and we do this as a board, none of us up here have any authority to ask the staff to do anything, because the staff doesn't work for us. Staff doesn't work for the EDA. No outside agency should also request any work of staff without going through the county administrator. We rely 100% on her discretion to do those things. So if there's so what you should request, if there's a request, is what the need is, and then the county administrator would define who would be the appropriate person to fulfill that need based on what that request is. But even us as board members don't go request work out of staff. It just doesn't happen. It's a way to break a board to pieces. It's a way to break staff into pieces. It's just not
And you
good
don't want
management.
too many chiefs either.
You can only have one. April has 5 of us to have to work with, which is probably challenging enough. But really, that's how that needs to happen. If there's a need, I think that what the specific need is needs to be presented, and then a solution that can be provided that can be worked out is the right path for that. Because it's not always about technology. Just I was talking to one of your board members, Alan Dan, about this. It would kind of be like me going in and to his boat shop and asking his main mechanic to come put air in my tires. His mechanic could do it, but could also get one of his guys that helps clean the boats to come put air in my tires. I'm not saying that's for everything. I'm saying, but that's where, if I needed air in my tires, I should go to Alan and say, hey, this is the kind of help I need. Who should you get that can perform that task for me?
I'm actually, it was April's suggestion I come and ask you for that.
Well, that was
So maybe
because
you
I
could provide some
offered
clarity.
a compromise of something that was a little more equitable and appropriate, and you were not agreeable to that, so I offered you to talk to the board.
And we just
Because it
want-
reached beyond day-to-day ops.
And I don't think anybody here will overturn our county administrator's authority over our staff. I just don't see that happening. But I mean, certainly we want to support the EDA, and it may
I
be
do
that,
too.
there's no doubt that we want to support the EDA.
Yeah.
It just has to go through the proper channels. And it may not be using higher level people to do lower level type functions. And because in my mind, what that tells me is that our directors don't have enough to do already if they have time to do these other things.
Agreed.
That's the message it sends to me, is that they're not busy enough. And I know that's not the case. I know they're all super busy, but that's the message it sends to us. So happy to help, but I don't see our board overruling our administrator, and any of that work, any administrative work has to go through her. It's really not a decision for us to make.
All right, I think maybe April and I could sit down and talk a little more.
As long as you're willing to compromise and, accept my decision when it's made, then reach to the board for a different alternative decision. I'm happy to support the EDA, but it's inequitable, and it's, that level of staff or specialized technical professional class levels, where I do have support staff, administrative people that can do some of the work that I think would be just as appropriate, and probably have more time to devote to really get a feel for the operations and how you guys function, and could probably facilitate even more than what you think you would get out of a staff support.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think we can help you fulfill the need. It just has to be, you have to trust that
Yeah.
we know the capabilities of our staff, and,
Yeah.
again, everybody has access to the systems, there's certain access to certain things. We just want to make sure that we're having our top players do work on the top projects.
Right.
I understand that.
Can I just add something? Yeah, I think it would be beneficial for the two of you to talk. I am supportive of having the EDA meeting this building. The planning commission meets in this building, so I think it's good to have the county departments and commissions and so forth in one location. So,
I'll add to that, that we're trying to slowly integrate all of the boards, commission, committees, and authorities before we open up by request or demand to outside agencies. The EDA
Totally.
is an independent outside agency.
okay.
And so we have protocol, security. We're having construction in the building again this week. That started 2 weeks early. It's very difficult to change routines that have been advertised for people to attend meetings without being properly coordinated. So I just ask that you be patient and trust the process. But we got to take care of our county committees, authorities, boards, and commissions first, which has not been done yet. Only Planning Commission and BZA.
I know it takes time.
It does.
But I think that's a goal we should probably move.
Certainly the goal. And we have another meeting room upstairs on the second floor too, so.
All right, your second ask.
The second ask is just perhaps some guidance regarding Rotary Poorhouse Park. As you know, it's just about a year ago that we engaged TRC to help produce a conceptual plan, and that was presented, and you all provided wonderful feedback. April provided feedback, as well as many of the departments, law enforcement, EMS. And so the next step was, based on a conversation in June, was that perhaps you would want to consider what is called an owner's engineer, which is basically a overall manager of the project who could help develop RFPs to hire the individual contractors for the projects. Now, we don't know what those projects are. This is something that I think the county needs to really nail down based on the conceptual plan that's been presented so far. And then one of those elements that needs to be accomplished too is what we call the survey phase work. So last month, or excuse me, in June, again, this idea of an owner's engineer was presented. We actually, without advertising, we got a proposal from TRC. I'm not asking for action on that. I just want to bring it to your attention. I've actually done and I'll let you pass this out, kind of a side-by-side of what the EDA thinks needs to be in this contract. But I don't believe the EDA should be the contracting authority. The Rotary Poorhouse Park is an Essex County property. You all, we are undertaking this at your behest. We're happy to manage it, but the contracting for Rotary Poorhouse Park makes sense to come from the county itself. And so as you look into this, but we are ready to help move forward and work with the advisory committee that you appointed to try to engage an operating engineer, again, with the contract, the county being the party to it. And I want to say Skip Weiss would be here tonight. He and Woody have been extremely involved with this program, and we're ready to move forward, but we've kind of been stagnant a little bit, and I think we just need some guidance and for you all to look more deeply into what are the next steps. Recall that you wanted to have public hearings, and that the county was going to take the lead on that. So one way to jumpstart this is to try to go ahead and get the survey phase work done. That could be done by TRC. This operating engineer proposal, was that shared with all of you? So you saw that it was $248,000. That's a significant sum. Under the Virginia Procurement Act, there should be some open bidding, but there are exceptions to that. Again, that's a decision, I think, for the county to make. Is an RFP necessary for the operator's engineer? But we also would like to move forward with the survey work. And the survey work is really to look at things like do soil bores, boundary surveys, wetlands identification, floodplain delineation, endangered species identification. So it's really getting a handle on the physical attributes of the property and whether they are suitable for the activities that you want to focus on, the facilities that you want to have built, be it the softball and the baseball fields, the basketball fields, the tennis courts, and, buildings such as and I understand that the animal shelter is a high priority, perhaps with the veterinary clinic. We applaud that, we'd like to see that happen, we want to help move that forward. So I'm just asking, help us move forward and provide us guidance on next steps.
I did, good, obviously, as you can see by our meetings tonight, we've had a lot of information for this month to have to cover, and a lot of documentation to read, but I did look through that. Yeah, $248,000 is not a small amount of money, and it's also not a ceiling. If you read through the fine details of it, that is, it's billed monthly. They can increase at the start of each calendar year. Park development is supposed to take several years, so I almost think we need to come up with something that's not to exceed an NTE of somebody, and should probably go out for RFP.
Yeah.
To get some competitive quotes and things done. But I do like the concept. I need to go through it more. I'll certainly look over this.
Yeah, and I just,
This is helpful because it kind of lets us look at, side by side, what the service and the things that are being offered as part of this.
So the first column is really the things that EDA thinks ought to be in the contract, but also with a work order associated with it to work on the survey phase, as I call it.
And I think a lot of, this type of stuff, on the 13th, we're having our strategic planning session. And so a lot of this is gonna be all coming into us, so we can get a plan on what are our priorities and what things should we be focusing on first. So this is certainly a part of it, so I'm glad we have this and have time to review it.
Well,
so
it
we can
gives you
bring it up.
food for thought anyway,
And it all goes back to our whole thing with Davenport. So this is why we have to know what the schools are doing, what their long-term planning is, and how we fund things, and what may be needed with the EDA and the Poorhouse Park track and the animal shelter. There's all these big pieces that are going on. So we have an all-day strategic planning session, which I don't know if that all-day will cover it, for the things we have to go through, but.
I think you need a multi-days.
We probably will, but that will be our start for sure. So, thank you for this. This is helpful. I need to go back over and look at that whole proposal again.
Yeah,
Because
and again, we didn't lay out the parameters they presented to us, and we
Right.
actually were trying to get some, have you had owner's engineer contracts before? Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, not something I'm aware of.
Something similar was the radio.
Yeah.
That was the only closest
Yeah.
and the most recent thing. I think the point is on the 248 number that you did, I think that was for the entire six-phase project, not just the first phase. I think we did, the board gave the instruction to the EDA to kind of pull back from that first phase proposal to look at an owner engineer, and I think you're spot on that let's take this up under our strategic plan and all that, time to discuss it, to give them more clear guidance, because that's what they're asking for, just guidance. So I think in the essence of time tonight, I think that's the quickest and best solution.
Very good. Woody, do you have anything to add? All right. I
You're
appreciate your
stay
time.
out of the limelight tonight, Woody. All right, well, I appreciate it.
All right, thanks very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna try to get back on track here, do my best. County Administrative Agencies reports, I don't have anything to add. As you know, I've been meeting with the sheriff and different board members and went and visited animal shelters. We did that as early as yesterday. We went and saw a couple in Goochland, one in Goochland and one in Caroline. Goochland was overly impressive. Very, very much so.
Yes.
Including they
So
had.
was New Cat. I mean, you missed that one.
Well, this was, my understanding, this was better than New
This was
Cat.
better than that time.
So they
Sorry, I
have,
missed it.
so one of the interesting things that they had was they have a full-time vet tech.
Yeah.
That was, used to be a nurse, and so she could administer the drugs, and they have a veterinarian that's kind of on call, but also kind of a traveling vet that will come in on occasion. So impressive facility. I'm sure we'll talk about more at our strategic planning session, but it really kind of shows you the scopes from Caroline, which was small and much older. They're looking to do some updates and some other things, and then to something as like what they had in Houston was pretty impressive. They had and almost all volunteers, over 80 volunteers.
Isn't that great?
They got $1.5 million in donations for the facility, and other people donated to other wings of their building. And when I said they have wings, it's a 14,000 square foot facility. So it was impressive. So between that and the schools, and then look at all the other things, it's been a little busy. So
And it didn't stink.
with that, I'll go through administrative rounds. Do you have anything else to add to your?
No, the members of the board have my board report. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, I'm happy to take those now.
It was a nice report.
Thank you.
It was very detailed. I loved it.
Thank you.
And kudos to you to do your department visitation and
Mhm.
facilities evaluations. I think that's a really good, great idea of yours.
you.
And also want to shout out to Nita, who is now our Director of Office of Personnel and Financial Services.
Financial management.
Financial, I thought it was financial services, financial management, that'll work. Yeah.
We changed it up a little
Great,
bit.
glad to have Nita there, so thank you for putting that in your report.
And I forgot to mention, we did have Vice Chairman Gill couldn't make it, so he went the first day, but couldn't make the second day of the, it was the Young Farmers.
Oh, the Young Farmer, Farm Bureau Young Farmer Expo back.
That happened at the
last
high
week
school,
in July.
and that was it was a good event, so I was
thank
appreciating you
you.
asking me
Yeah.
to serve on that panel. So
I was
it
there for the first day, but thank you for serving on the panel the next day.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
It was great, some great questions came out of it, and
sister
that was a good turnout.
No, I was going,
let's
but
see,
it's just to
nothing
get sick
really
to go to the
works.
hospital.
Sergeant Mazinga, I think he's gone.
Yeah,
Carlos is here. Nope.
No.
Kyle, anything to add?
He had to leave. He was sick.
He's out.
The
Kyle
leg-
out.
The leg was out. yeah.
Robbie? I wasn't gonna miss you.
Mr. Chairman.
We
members of the
appreciate
board.
your patience.
Absolutely. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this evening. I'm actually not going to deliver a report. I've got my summer intern, Mackenzie Kirby. She's going to share a little bit with you all. This is her last day on the job. I'm very sad to lose her, and what a way to end it, 9:25 at night at a Board of Supervisors meeting. So hope she comes back as an agent.
She's on time and a half, Rob.
That's right. So we're going to see if we can help with that. But appreciate the opportunity to be here. Mackenzie's been with me all summer, split between Essex and Middlesex. We had a hybrid internship for that this year, and so very happy to have her. She has done a phenomenal job. I really hope she can come back and work for us one day. So I'm going to let Mackenzie share very briefly some of her experiences and what she has done for you all here in Essex County this summer. So,
She need your comp
Chuck,
time, didn't
And you're not asking for money.
No, sir. I no request. Good evening, and thank you all for having me. It has been such an honor to be here over the summer and be able to experience everything I have been able to with Extension. A little background on me. My name is Mackenzie Kirby. I'm a recent graduate from Virginia Tech with a degree in animal and poultry sciences. I grew up on a farm in Hanover, Virginia, and I have worked in veterinary medicine for the past 4 years. Coming into this internship, I had a decent background with vegetable production, grain, cattle, and beef, but I lacked a lot of knowledge for business, agronomy, crop and soils, oyster production, as well as youth education. Next slide. Just to highlight a few of the things I was able to do, coming into this internship right off the bat, I got to attend the Small Grains Field Day over at the Eastern Virginia AREC, as well as be a part of the Mid-Atlantic Wheat Tour, where I was able to meet with producers, industry stakeholders, other interns, as well as Secretary Frazier, the Virginia Ag and Forestry Secretary. During the field day, we were able to hear from various stakeholders in the industry. We got first insights onto the freeze damage of this year's wheat crop. We heard from the Virginia small grains breeder that is employed by Virginia Tech. And then the next day, visiting on the wheat tours, we were able to see farms here in Essex, Middlesex, and King William counties, speaking with producers, learning about their operations and kind of how their decision-making goes. Next slide. One of my bigger events and more involved events for the summer was the Eastern Virginia Forage Conference. This is the first of its kind conference and research on the Eastern Virginia side, specifically here in the Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck area. This was headed up by Robbie, as well as the King and Queen King William agent, Turner Minks, with a little bit of help from myself, and I was also able to speak with producers there, where I was able to share insights into Virginia hay quality, specifically comparing Eastern Virginia hay quality to what we see along the 81 corridor, as well as to how it compares to other states in our area, and just be able to talk and learn with our producers as well as other industry stakeholders there. Next slide. Another big part of my summer was research. I came in more on the late side of all the wheat research, with kind of more so helping with the harvesting there, but I was able to help with seed research with wheat, corn, soybeans, sorghum, and millet, from different variety trials to fungicide testing to application trials, as well as going through and doing corn earworm trapping and collecting the data, as well as extrapolating some of that data to understand what it would actually mean. Next slide. And lastly, some of my other things I was able to do and represent Essex County and Virginia Cooperative Extension throughout the summer was I was able to go out to many farms, whether that be in pastures or in fields, learning the major characteristics and plant IDs for weeds, legumes, grains, and much more. I was able to organize and archive over 30 years of on-farm corn, wheat, and soybean research, which currently all the wheat research for on-farm testing is being headed up here in Essex by Robbie. I was also able to attend the Virginia Small Grains board meeting, where they were presenting their proposals for the next season's research to try to get grants for that as well. I was able to attend the Three Rivers Soil and Water Conservation meeting for their Middle Peninsula Producers meeting, where we were able to get updates on the state's best management practices and cost share programs. We heard from industry professionals, and then I was also able to stay for the Board of Directors meeting and hear what was going to be coming up over the next year from them. I attended the Virginia Ag Expo here in Doswell this year, where we were meeting with local and non-local producers, industry stakeholders, educators, Virginia FFA state officers, and again, we even met Secretary Frazier as well. I was also able to attend the Virginia Essex County 4-H, their end of the year banquet, talk with the youth there, learn their plans, see how they're working with all of their animals, as well as some of the community sponsors for their programs. And lastly, I was able to attend the Richmond County Fair 2 nights and represent Essex as well as Virginia Cooperative Extension in their ag safety program and safety zone, teaching youth and their families about farm safety and more specifically tractor safety. Next slide. So I just kind of want to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors and to the County of Essex for supporting this position. It has been a great opportunity. I have learned so much, met so many people, and I just can't begin to explain how much I have gained just in a few short months here. So thank y'all. It's been a blessing.
Thank you. Now, so are you looking to go into veterinary medicine? And you feel like you owe us a favor because you had this opportunity? I'm not trying to guilt you into anything, but.
I currently serve as a veterinary tech in the Army Reserves and will be going active duty in a few months.
We'll wait till you go back. It's gonna take us a while to have our clinic built.
We haven't built the building yet.
Yeah, we got time.
It's perfect time.
Just don't remember who you owe thanks to.
Yes, sir.
For giving you this great opportunity. Robbie, don't lose contact.
I'll
Hey, look, I'm an old vet now. Come on back and retired soldier. You come on back after you finish your little 4 years.
Yes, sir.
You went to ROTC, so you're gonna do 4 years. Come on back. We give you a job.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
appreciate you.
Thank
Glad
you so
had a great
much.
opportunity.
Thank you
I
all
assume
again.
this is proud mom and dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd recognize, I could feel the mom and dad here. Okay, proud mom and dad. Good for you. You should be proud. She's
Yeah.
great.
I've been very, very blessed. As you can see, I'm exhausted. It's been a long summer, and I'm very appreciative. For those that don't know, years ago, I was actually in Mackenzie's position as an engineer in this county. And it's a great program. This is the first year that I've been able to host one, and I plan to do one again next year and the next year.
Let's see, Robbie stuck around.
I will say though, for the first responders in here, that photo that she showed with the 30-plus years of on-farm research, I think that's the only one in the state, so if I call that we have a fire, please be prompt. I really don't want to lose that, I need to get that archived sometime, but she spent a lot of time organizing that this summer and getting it together.
Yeah, 'cause that thing.
Good deal.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you all.
Good luck to you.
That's how when it was up at, Richcombe.
All right, Woody, EDA, nothing else to add? Thank you, sir.
Can I ask a quick question
Yeah.
of EDA? The DMO grant, there's a 1-to-1 match, you're looking for 15,000. Does that include in-kind support, or is that just straight money, monetary?
Right, so it's.
Or if you don't know the answer, you get back to
No,
me,
it's
that's fine.
just money, and
Okay.
it's in our budget
Okay,
to match that 15
okay.
that we were awarded with the state, and we'll also put in that pot for that grant is the reimbursement money from our previous Virginia Tourism Grant. So we get half of that money back, that's $8,400, that has been submitted for reimbursement. So that's the full budget for that DMO grant.
And I just point out to the board and to the public, there's some great things that these folks at EDA and what grants they've been pulling in and all that, so keep up the good work, thank you.
Thanks, Woody. Jay, anything additional for facilities? No. By the way, floors look great. Board members, if you saw
Yeah.
the floors cleaned up,
Saw that.
really great.
Paint look good too.
Yep.
The paint look good.
Haven, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, I'm saying. You gotta do
Robbie left, but to quote Robbie, I'm exhausted, it's been a long summer. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the library staff for their really hard work this summer. Summer reading is not an easy feat at the library. That's our busy, busy time, and school started right on top of the end of it. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the library staff.
Thank you.
If you didn't know, congratulations on the summer program, very successful. You guys did a great job, I noticed that. Appreciate it.
Nita, anything additional for financial management?
A real quick one, the youth enrichment application is now online. It is on the homepage for the Essex website. It's a button right underneath Board of Supervisors that says Youth Enrichment Fund. Click on that, it goes right straight to the guidelines, the application, the instructions, everything you need to do to fill it out. So I just wanted to put that out there because that got up and posted after I submitted my report.
Perfect, thank you.
We did have an applicant. It was a little bit incomplete. I have sent directions back to them, so hopefully they'll resubmit it with everything that we requested.
Perfect.
Couple quick things while she's up here. The fleet management under Edmonds.
Yes, sir.
That's really gonna help streamline things, isn't it?
We are almost complete putting in
That is
all the
awesome.
titles from the great big title binder, and we'll begin populating who's driving the cars, what the mileage is, then that way we can set up a whole maintenance schedule so that we get alerts when that occurs.
That's a big step up.
It'll be
That's-
a good step
that's
to
a
already
big
be in
step
place
up.
when the joint facility is built.
And real quick question, on the school all-in funding, 166,000 plus was returned.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's money that they did not use, is that what I understand?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. It was a 3-year program that ended in June of this year. those were the funds that were not utilized that we had already received, so.
It wasn't money that it's just returning money that was received in a grant going back.
Correct.
No problem, thanks.
And I meant to bring up, that's not for you, Nita.
Okay.
But thank you. I meant to bring up for the public and the board that wasn't able to attend, we had Rob Whitman here. You know, he had helped us with a grant, thanks to our finance team in April, and Brian and everybody that helped you push for that, grant for our vehicle maintenance facility, which the hardest part was getting it through the appropriations, so it's made it through the appropriations now. It's likely we're not gonna see that until, at the earliest, probably January, but probably most likely not even till like June or July. But that is very positive that we pushed this through. Those grants are available every year. We'll probably apply for different things every year to try to get those funds. So that's on an additional positive note that we had with them. And we're able to discuss other things as well, with the concerns and things we had, so. Parks and Rec, Kay's not here. Candace, I think they stepped out. She wanted to present something to the board tonight. I asked her to hold off because we had so much, some very good news about how we've reduced some costs for our foster care. In fact, that program has, I think she's seeing savings as much as to 85%, but I want to steal her thunder. I'm going to let her present it next month for us. Chuck, do you have anything additional for technology?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Angela's not here, and Christine's not. Kristen, anything to add outside of your action items we're going to take up in a little bit? Thank you. Pam, you kind of gave your report earlier, so I don't think there's anything you need to recap, unless there's something else you wanted to add.
The only piece I missed was just got a call right before I got here, the governor will be here on Friday visiting JCIS, so.
Excellent.
We're gearing up for that at this time. So
Okay.
right before it came over.
Excellent, thank you. Sheriff Holmes?
Package. I submitted a letter on behalf of the school board. We have a car that we took out of service. And I was approached by Ronnie at the bus shop. They had 4 vehicles that is out of service. And these vehicles are being used to transport the students to Richmond and all over. So they asked me about the vehicle that I have at my satellite office that is no longer in service to see if I could get that turned over to the school board to help take our kids to Richmond and the place they need to go. So that's, I think my secretary should have submitted that in the package.
It's in,
It's in there.
Okay.
And I personally don't have an issue with private schools. I'd say we go through our fleet management program and however that works out. Because I think the other thing we ought to do is reach out to the schools and find out about some vehicles that they may have that aren't being utilized that we can sell off, kind of as our total program as we bring it together.
And I
So-
believe Ronnie want to do that. The ones that is disabled,
Right.
I think he
So-
want to get into the program and maybe sell them vehicles to,
So
compromise.
I think
for
we'd
the
be
one.
okay with letting administration handle that, whatever that process needs to be. But
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it.
I'll get, yeah, Jay and I had talked
Yeah,
about it. so,
I don't know that any of us are opposed to that if we can,
that's a good use for it.
yep.
Yeah.
I think once the county gets going with their fleet management through Edmonds, I would strongly recommend that the school look at that as well. They have 49 vehicles.
Yes.
That's not buses, that's
Yeah.
just vehicles.
We're actually 45 now because they had 4 out of commission.
I understand, okay, so, but now they'll be up to 46, so that's definitely a fleet that needs management. I
Yes.
mean, just keep track of all, it's very complicated.
Hear that, Ms. Bell? Okay.
Thank you, Arnie, I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Penny's not here, Lee's not here, so, all right, John, you do your call-outs?
And I just don't have a few. Thank you, Jason Mazingo, pass that on to him. He started a Facebook page, doing a public outreach for the animal shelter, that's spot on. And hopefully that'll bring in all those $1 million donations on our new facility. But no, the public needs to know and see what's going on. And so Jason's doing a great job. I got to meet him a couple weeks ago for the first time. That was great. Thank you, Building and Zoning and Administration, for setting up a credit card payment at the Building and Zoning. That's a real nice feature, so for that. And I did have a question real quickly for Brian. The Smart Scale Project acceptance date, When approximately would that be? If it had,
Hopefully have a report for you on that at your next meeting.
perfect,
And
great.
did I hear that the town declined their project? Is that correct?
That is correct. The town council declined the project. I would like, if it's acceptable to you all, to be able to give you a quarterly smart scale report. I could have that ready, maybe not for next month, but the following month. In consultation with VDOT and town staff, that seems like a better way forward. That way we can kind of figure out alternatives.
Yeah, I thought I'd heard that. I just wanted to concur.
Yes, that was declined, so that's not on smart scale this time.
Right, right.
There's gonna be more studies on that, and I can brief you guys on that in the future.
Sure. And sorry I skipped over, I was asking, but I don't know how I skipped over you, Brian, but I was asking for updates. We were saving it for last, I knew John had a question, that's the only reason I
You
did
knew
it that
it.
way.
You could read my mind. I do want to shout out again to our personnel and finance, the aid to localities grant, $47,000, and a burn justice assistance grant for $32,000. You guys are doing great work, so I know the sheriff appreciates your help as well. So bring those grants in, we need them. So shout out to Carlos, please, Chuck, for helping for mapping day at the summer camp for the kids. I know that's a big success for them, and that's very important. Kristen, congratulations on your passing the mass reassessment, the mass appraisal of residential properties certification. I can only imagine what that is. And good for you and again, I'd always like to shout out because the staff is always looking for improvements and bettering their ability to help the county residents, the mass reassessment administrative course that you're taking. So thank you for doing that. So, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Ronnie, you have any?
I'm good, thank you, everything's good.
Kevin? Joe? Good, thank you. All right. Looking at our boards and committee minutes, anybody have any questions? There's only two there, the Airport Authority and the Planning Commission. Any questions, comments? No. Consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve all three?
So moved.
Second. Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it. Under new business, I was saying that, the two conditional use, or the conditional use permit and the subdivision plat case, we've deferred that till next month. Next, we have a real estate refund request. Kristen? Yep. So, see the letter, no issue with that. I guess my question is, I don't understand, because I'm not able to see any details of of what the refund action is, like, it's all X'd out. And not that I need to necessarily see names, but I don't know how much of a refund. Is it 100%? Is it within our policy guidelines? Is it 25%?
This one was a tough one. This one was a little bit different. I had to get Max involved and April involved. This one, before Max got involved, this one could have gone back as far as 2017. He was declared 100% totally and permanently disabled April of 2017. So I originally worked it up going back that far. Now, as you can imagine, that was going to be a pretty substantial amount of refund for both personal property and real estate. After Max got involved, it's going to be about $11,000. So after Max got involved, he did a ton of research, and it was so well done. Found out that we can only go back to current plus 3 years, 2023 through 2026. So it is all of 23, all of 24, 25, and the first half of 2026, because the second half has not due yet, it is not paid. Also, it is subtracting amount that he does owe on other real estate accounts. So instead of giving him the refund, we would apply it to other real estate accounts that he owns. We would take that off of the dollar amount we would actually refund him and just abate what is owed on the other real estate account. I think there's a total of 3 real estate accounts. The second half is due. Plus, there's a little owed on personal property as well, and we just deducted that from total refund.
So, we're within our policies on all these,
Yeah,
it's not 100% refund then, it's just,
it is not 100% refund, just the, it's 100% for 23 through 26, first half of 26. We would just abate the second half of
I
26.
didn't think we offered any 100% though. I thought it was only,
I can probably clarify that, because there are a number of different, I guess, statutory tax exemptions. There are some for disabled, some for elderly. This is a special one for those veterans who are 100% service-connected disabled. And
Total and permanent.
Total and permanent. And that was created by a constitutional amendment a few years ago, and is codified in statute now. So
Okay.
it actually isn't part of the county's ordinances. It's a
Gotcha.
statutory exemption.
gotcha, okay.
So
Okay.
they get 1 acre of land and their improvements. Not every improvement qualifies, such as a pool or a boat lift or pool house or, something like that. That does not qualify. There has been in the past that a pool can qualify if there's a doctor from the letter that it's a therapeutic for their disability. But there's only, I think, 2 disabled veterans that opts out of, so.
Okay.
But yes, it's 1 acre in their improvements unless a special that they receive.
Real quick, Max question, do we need to adopt that, or because it's state statute, we're good?
No, there's no need to adopt any.
So I need
There is a nuance that the board has authority to adopt greater than 1 acre. That's the statutory requirement, is 1 acre.
That's fine, thank you.
There has been talk with the Commissioner of Revenue Association, and I just want to let you know that there is talk with the Virginia Department of Taxation. They are forming a group with a number of commissioners. I've put my name in the hat to help, but we are small, small compared to some of the northern that get the disabled veterans. They're going to work with the Virginia Department of Taxation. Hopefully, the counties can start getting a little reimbursement from the state to help. This is a state mandated exemption, but it's falling on the counties. So hopefully there's been enough talk. This is a great program for our disabled veterans. I think they deserve more. But hopefully the state, will be able to help reimburse in the near future, but the process has started.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions on this? If not, I would.
I'll go to motion to approve the real estate refund in the amount of $2691.36 as presented.
Second it.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have our personal property refund. I'm assuming this is the same person?
Yes.
Okay. And so my question with this one, more the question with this one was, does the state statute also apply to the fees? Because there's a $40 fee in there. Does that apply to fees, the licensing fee?
That's a great
'Cause
I
thought
don't.
everybody had to pay the licensing fee.
Yeah, I don't believe it applies to the fees, just the tax.
So what's being presented here is the tax and the fee being,
Except for if that's his primary vehicle.
I don't know who it is, and it doesn't matter.
So,
to
I
me
mean,
who
that
it
is a good question. I mean, if they were exempt to begin with, unfortunately, this taxpayer had no idea that this was an option for him.
Right.
So he's just now coming forward, so,
And my question
if he
is
was-
just about the fee.
yes.
not-
So if
not
he
the
was
tax.
exempt, he would not be paying the fee, but since he did not bring the qualifying papers, he obviously paid them, so I don't know if that falls. I don't know how that would.
That fee's $40 a year, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we don't have any exception for the fee though, do we, in any of our
It's
guidelines?
for one vehicle.
I know, but I don't think we have policy exceptions for the fees.
You do not have an ordinance to
Yeah, I don't
refund
remember
fees. You do not. I learned that the last time we did a refund.
So I guess that's,
I
unless
had no
it's
idea.
by state statute, our ordinance doesn't allow this for the fee.
My vehicle, I don't know. My one vehicle.
So, it's in there, if it's not, I always put it in there, but if it's not, I can redraw the,
If we don't have
worksheet.
an ordinance to support it and it's not in the statute, I don't know how we do it.
Yeah, if you give me 1 second, I'll clarify in the statute.
I just don't want to open up a Pandora's box
You
if we
got
don't
it.
have to.
I completely understand. I figured I would put it in there, knowing that I can recreate it for your
Yeah,
signature.
I'm good with the licensing tax, I just don't know about the fee. And this isn't a matter of us asking for money, this is a matter of whether it gets credited back.
Understood.
The statute only refers to being exempt from taxation. So if it's a license fee, that's a separate.
So I don't know, board, I don't know that we can omit the license fee if we don't have an ordinance that calls for that. We don't have a mechanism for doing that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, this can't replace the fees, you're on the side of a big tax.
Right. So,
It's $160 is what it's showing.
so do we have,
See your point, so it's not that you don't want to, we're not talking a lot of money, but at the same time, you
Yeah,
don't want to
right, we just need
create
a
a
motion, we
situation.
just need a motion to adjust the ask.
And it's just like we learned that you can, you as the board can only approve 23 through 26. So technically, he qualifies through till 2027, but you as a board, I learned, can only approve to those years. So you can't approve it, you can't approve it.
So the 18,1567 includes the $160?
Yes, sir.
It does.
Yeah.
So it'd be whatever that number is minus the 160.
So let me go ahead and make the motion to approve the personal property refund in the amount of, with this adjustment, $1,655.67. That would take out the 160. So we can go to discussion, so,
Second.
okay, now we can
Probably
discuss.
second discussion?
Now you can discuss, all right, let's go.
I don't have any discussion, I know if it's not part of our ordinance to abate the fees, then I don't see how we do it.
I agree, I'm not trying to be tight, cheap,
And if we
but I don't
do
want
do it, then I think we have
cause
to go back and
problem.
look at everything else done previously, because we're setting a precedence.
I see the point. Now, we can adjust that in the future if we want to.
Yes, is there any talk, April, about,
That's my
is there any
I'm not
talk
saying it's
about
not
having an
legal.
ordinance drawn up to make it from a, you know,
I guess we could talk to, if the
Yeah,
board, if that's the pleasure of the board, they could look at
Okay.
doing that, for sure. But
What's up?
she was asking if there's
If
any
there's like
interest
a-
in the board to do that in the
to
future.
make an ordinance or have an ordinance drawn up to purposely be able to.
I mean, we could certainly discuss it, and bring it up at budget time, when we're starting talking about our taxes and rates and all
Okay.
that. That would be the time to do it.
My question is just to be able to relate to this taxpayer, because he's already probably gonna be very disappointed that, he's not gonna be able to go back to 2017 unless he takes it, further to clerk of the court, but just so I can have some, be able to
We
communicate.
don't have, the simple answer is our ordinance doesn't allow for us to abate the fees.
That's,
And the
that's
state
understood,
statute doesn't
understood.
do that, so.
Understood.
Until
You can only
that's
do-
taken
yeah.
up and discussed. We have brought that up before, the elimination of fees and not done it.
I can certainly look into whether or not the license tax under or the license fee, however it is adopted under that previous ordinance, whether
There's a
it constitutes a
sticker.
tax that would be subject to the exemption, but I can't answer that off the cuff.
Typically, it hasn't. It's one of the reasons that we did our B-poll fee and not a tax. We treat those separately in every other document that we do. So it's not seen as a tax.
The reference to the current plus 3, that was the code. She said the gentleman was gonna be disappointed he couldn't go back further.
Oh, yeah, I've got it.
Correct. The board, yeah, the board can't approve anything past 3 years.
Yep, so I got it all ready. I wanted to wait till tonight was over, make sure everything went, approved and went through with final amounts, be able to,
Chair Renee,
let him know.
With all due respect to our attorney, to find out if $160 is gonna cost us more than $160 to find
Right.
that out, so let's not.
I don't think we can find out. Yeah.
I love you, Max, but sorry.
I think we bring it up at budget time to look at, we can bring it up as, that's something we would add to the elderly disabled, that's what we talk about, that same schedule, we bring that up again.
That sounds good.
You have to remind us to bring it up probably.
Okay. I can put that on my
But
list.
that'd be the time to discuss it. is
Yeah,
at budget
okay.
time.
All right, that sounds good.
Mr. Chair, I call the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Thank you,
Great,
Kristen.
thank y'all.
Appreciate it. All right, we've got, budget action form, so, this is, for the auditor for UHY to cover the fees that exceeded the fiscal year 2026 appropriation. Do you have any questions on that, gentlemen, or do we have a motion to approve?
We appropriated 78,000 for this audit, and it went over by almost 82, or 81,000? Is that what I'm understanding?
It's like 13 down, man.
With the additional scope this board added,
Okay, so that was for the scope that we
you
added.
guys drove
Okay,
that, yes.
that explains it then. Okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the transfer of $81,198.75 from reserves to cover the UHY audit fees that exceed the FY '26 appropriation as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Just a quick question would be, is there any way that this could be recouped in any way, shape, or fashion, depending on outcomes?
No.
Okay, thank you. Can't hurt to ask.
With all that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have a budget action form. This is for money to cover the forensic audit services.
That's right.
In the amount of $50,325.
Motion to approve the transfer of reserves in the amount of 13,000 for the 2025 audit as presented.
No, 50, no,
That's the wrong one.
next one up. 50,320. This is the forensic audit.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, forensic.
That's all right.
Motion to approve okay. Motion to approve transfer of 50,325 from reserves to cover the forensic audit service as presented.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Only discussion I would bring up is,
And I saw you left, but
yeah, this could be, I mean, there could be additional expenses
there could be additional
incurred on this,
expenses.
as that's, it's still under investigation, with the VSP and the forensic auditor, so
That's right.
don't know that, we just don't know. We're,
Well, probably will be until the trial.
yep. So just want to make the board aware of that.
We meet him, I wrote him a blank check.
All right, we've got a motion and a seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, ayes have it. Next, John, here's your,
Motion to approve the transfer of reserves in the amount of 13,000 for the 2025 audit as presented.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have a budget action form for Fund 301. This is CIP funds that were not allocated, that were transferring over.
Procedural rollover.
Yeah,
from-
procedural rollover into this next fiscal year.
Right.
And those are funds for school capital reserves in the amount of $162,180.50.
That's just money there that
We roll
just
over.
rolled it over, okay.
Move to reappropriate the unexpended FY '26 CIP funds in the amount of $162,180.50 to the school capital reserve projects and school reserve projects as presented.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion. So Pam, just so you're aware that the county has puts money into the school capital reserve fund. What we agreed to some years ago was to, any surpluses that the school would have, we would split that 50-50 with the schools and the county, and that money goes to a specific school capital reserve fund that we maintain. So as capital projects come up, you can tap into those monies and get those. They have to come for the board approval, but we've set aside funds to do that, and that's what that fund is. All right, I'll call quick. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have the next 301 CIP fund to, CIP funds in the amount of $859,267. And these are for various projects. These
These
are
are
county
all the
rollover.
ones that are not related to the school funds
These are the
previously.
county rollover funds for CIP, vehicle maintenance facility, other ones that didn't get expended last year.
So again, none of this has been done, it's just rolling the money over.
Yeah,
Yes.
Procedural.
Shuffling paper.
Motion to approve the reappropriation of CIP funds in the amount of $859,267.18 to the various funds as presented.
We have a second?
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes
gentlemen.
have it. Next, we have on here, as Mr. Smith had presented to us, a Rise and Fall sponsorship. Board members, is there any inclination to do anything with this now or defer it to a later time?
I would like us to consider a sponsorship at this time. We know the town did 1,000, I'm okay with 1,000.
I think I'd recommend
If it's pleasure to
$1,001.
board.
1,000 and, see, 1,001?
He went, I'm sorry.
Some like prices, Brian did.
I didn't hear that.
Showcase, showed
He
it.
wants 1,001.
He wants
Just beat
1,001.
Down by $1.
Well, we could go to the bookworm sponsorship and do 1,500.
No, we ain't.
I'll go ahead to a motion to approve a sponsorship, the community sponsor level of $1,000 for the Rise and Fall Festival as presented.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Funded which way, gentlemen? From reserves or from your own independent accounts?
Ooh, how about that?
You made the
Raise the
motion.
ante, right?
Can I amend my amendment?
No,
I'll amend mine, and yeah, you can take it from my fund, I think.
it's just,
More than
there's
fine.
not a budget form, so
I
we need
understand.
to clarify
Yeah, I agree.
where the
Take it
money's
from
coming
John.
from.
Take it from mine, that's fine.
The full ante?
Yep.
The full 1,000,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you want to stick to your verbal that you gave me 2 weeks ago for 1,000?
He gave 1,000 already, so that ain't no.
I got you 2 community sponsorships, but
He gonna get 4 tickets.
That's fine, from my fund, it'll be fine.
If you need to borrow some money, I'll share with John.
we could distribute it equally amongst your funds.
Yeah, the fairest thing is do it.
Yeah, that's what they
I
do.
think.
I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All in favor?
All right, so motion's been amended for a $1,000 sponsorship, split equally between the supervisor's discretionary fund.
Plus an
Who
extra dollar
seconded it?
from yours.
I second it. I'll
All right,
second
all
that.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have
Thank
it.
you, gentlemen.
All right, next we have the EDA, that's not really any action for us to take.
I think we addressed that already.
Yep.
Yep.
Then we have the
Some-
budget
Some
appropriation request from Mr. Manley. Again, I'd like to see a further layout, details of capital versus operational. I don't think we should be utilizing reserves to cover operational expenses, so I'd just like to see a breakout of what that is. And I think he'll probably get that back to us next month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you'll get that back to us next month.
Yeah, I don't,
I saw him write it down. I think he'll get back to us quickly.
Okay, school improvement grant, budget action form, we've got that here, we've got it signed. And this was for the 129, I swore we did this last month.
One time.
Oh, there was 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is for this coming year, the one we
Gotcha.
approved was
For
for
the
last.
26, this is
year.
27.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
All right.
That's the procedural one.
So members, we have a school improvement grant, we've talked about this significantly. We funded the, last month, for the last previous fiscal year, so this is the remaining half for this fiscal year.
Motion to approve appropriation of $129,910 fiscal year 27 school improvement grant as presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Now, this included This is for the preschool, is that correct?
No,
or-
this is for
No.
the
Okay, I keep
intermediate
on
school.
confusing them.
Intermediate school.
Okay, this is for the immediate school, and this is a grant fund that we don't have to match and all?
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they're,
I keep on confusing the other grant, so I apologize. I
That's
got it.
okay.
Okay.
yeah, that's correct.
I just want to make sure that, you know, this information is being, you know, documented, so, you know, we don't have issues. Just want to make sure that this stuff gets into the, whatever, the RDA, whatever, it's being tracked, it's being copied, it's, you know, I want a tight ship on this one, just because I don't want an issue happening. And I would assume that's going to happen. I'm not sure who's looking after the grant and all that.
It wouldn't be the county side after, but we don't do that. Mhm.
And is this something that Angela Gross keeps track of and all that to make sure that the? Right, but I thought she was coming back to help and all, maybe I'm mistaken on that, but, I just wanna make sure that we don't get hit with either the money not being spent, have to be returned, I just wanna make sure that there's no penalties and all that, I just. So,
Well, and more importantly, we want to make sure the success of this program, because one of the issues that we had was that this program grew into getting more funding, which growth wasn't a good thing.
right.
And so we want to see some positive results out of this funding, even though it's really the state that'll be monitoring that, so there's no penalties that will rely on the county if
Okay.
that's not met. I mean, that will fall on the schools for this program specifically. VPI is a little bit different because VPI has a county match to it, but not with the SIG grant, so.
I'll bring that up at the VPI.
With that, I'll ask the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes have it. Next, we have the VPI, budget action form here. I do know that the number is correct based on the calc tool. We went over this several times. This is based on a count of 35. My understanding is that what was submitted to the state was more like 38. So I'm not sure what will happen on the school side for that, if that number was submitted higher for the schools. So if we have more than 35 students, well, right now the request for us is that for 375, 280, 260, with a 50-50 split of 187, 630 is what's being appropriated.
And that was done based on the 35 that we were planning for, but now that enrollment is done and school has started, we have more than 35 students.
So the option is either to rescind this funding request and come back with a accurate number, or we adopt this number, which is gonna be lower than what you could possibly get. So if we have a fixed amount, I would recommend rescinding this request and coming back with whatever the number is that you actually have. So the VPI number might fluctuate?
I mean, there's always a chance that it fluctuates.
Well, I would just keep it then. I mean, you're really splitting hairs in the bigger scheme of things. To John's comments, though, I know there's been concerns in the past, through conversations we had, that money's not necessarily being spent appropriately for VPI specifically. This is a special fund for VPI. I hope that will be a line item in the budget.
It's broken out in the budget.
Okay. Again, this number is reflected correctly from the calc tool if you use 35 enrolled students in the preschool. So that is the correct number.
What was submitted was a budget action form, the school form, it's not the county form.
Right.
And I know we have talked about having the proper documentation and forms, so.
Well, I agree, and the schools aren't gonna know our codes.
We can do those forms, but we were waiting on other documentation to support the request, but I guess there's some other conversation that happened.
Well, we didn't need to have supporting documentation for VPI. What we probably needed was.
You need it for the calc
We
tool
need the
or the
calc tool.
vote.
Yeah, the calc tool and the
Right.
vote.
So we just
of that.
presented what we had.
But I know what the calc tool has, because I've got that documentation right in front of me, and it was in part of our other documentation that we looked at, and that vote did happen to approve this, so.
And I believe we presented the vote at your last meeting. You all just didn't take action on it because of.
But we don't pull records from previous meetings on your behalf to the next one, so this one didn't come with anything else, but like your email said, Rob told you didn't need to give me documentation to put before the board, so that's why we uploaded, that's why it looks the way that it looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, we don't need justification for VPI. We've kicked that horse enough.
I think it should have the calc tool printout with
Yeah,
it, but that's something
As
we
it
can add.
references the calc tool, that would have been, I mean, we've got it now, we've looked at it.
That's right.
I really don't want to see this come up again, so I'm ready to take action one way or the other on it.
I see your point, but at the same time, you know, the amount of money we've been spending on audits and everything else, we've got to track this stuff. Otherwise, it just costs more money to track something down and all. If we have the paperwork right from the get-go, we don't have these problems later.
So what documentation do we need?
Just the supporting calc tool number and the approved minutes. I know, but technically it should be submitted by you all to us with each action form request, and not us go back and look at previous minutes and try to pull it up and gather data, because we don't know if minutes have changed or if other documentation has changed, so when the request comes over, it should just have it all. So a safeguard with that is they've already got it all. If this board wants to, you could approve it contingent on receiving that documentation by the end of the week. I mean, the documentation's available, it just has to be given.
One of the things I would say, as a new superintendent, I'm not trained on any processes for you all, so that might be a good thing for you first come.
That'd be great.
You don't know. I'm finding out as you go. I said, as a superintendent coming in, I'm not trained on the processes of how this works. So it might be a great thing to have for a new
Right.
person who comes in.
But I did send everybody an email, and I identified in the email what we needed, but then I received an email directly from the chair of the school board telling me what I don't need for my board, which is actually not correct. So that's what, you know, we were working very well together of what we needed and working together, you and I were. When you received what, I'm sorry?
When I received your email, I called the chairman of the Board of Supervisors, and he indicated that we had already presented documentation in the past.
The justifications of VPI, but not the actual
I don't see
details of
this,
improvement.
yeah, I don't see it any differently than EDA on the day-to-day ops, or just let the superintendent and I work that out from paperwork, because we do need the documentation. If this is pulled for audit, it will get flagged.
Yeah, the communication that I was referring to is we didn't need justification of the program, because we didn't need to discuss the program any further. But for audit purposes, they're gonna need the calc tool, the number that
That's what's
supports that
important.
document,
That's what's
and
important.
just the copy of the approved meeting minutes is the piece that was needed. No additional work needed to be done, they just need that for audit. So if the auditors come in and say, I see you approved this, but you don't have the calc tool documentation submitted, so, again, I think we spent more time than it's worth talking about it. We just approve it on a conditional.
I'm leery on that too, just because, you
Well,
know.
if they don't submit it, then it gets denied. That's why you do it on conditional.
It's just that, you know, we had asked for a budget by August the 1st and did not receive it then. And I just, you know, I'm okay approving it. We don't move the money until the documentation comes. So it really just puts the onus on getting the proper documentation. I don't mean to be a bugger about it, but, I've got to draw the line somewhere, and I'm starting to draw those lines, so.
And this number could change as well.
Yeah, well, it's already changed from 35,
to
38, here's an email, 39, what is it? So,
Well, the number doesn't really mean anything until we get into the first audit that they request those figures, so I don't think you'll see any money by before then anyway. It's just allocating it.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels, I'm just one person, so.
That's at the pleasure of the board.
I spoke my piece, so I'll hear the rest of them.
So if we approve it conditionally, what kind of date do you want to put on that to
I
get
mean,
that information?
It should be there. We've already got the calc tool. It just needs to be submitted over
Needs to be
with
submitted.
the approved meeting minutes where the board approved it.
Or you could just allow me to reach back out with Pam and get the documentation. You vote the way that you want to tonight.
That
It
works.
doesn't really fall under the wheelhouses of boards and school boards.
You good with that, as long as
I
Yeah,
am
the
with the
audit trail.
understanding that going forward, that all departments and agencies are treated the same. And so if a packet is not received on time or is not complete, just allow the right people to work together to get it. And if not, it gets kicked out, and then it would just take care of it.
So yeah, you could approve it based on the appropriate audit
Just approve it
documentation
and trust that Pam and I'll put the attachments to it.
Mr. Chair, I move,
Huh?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the VPI funding in the amount of $375,260, conditional upon getting all the documentation that will be worked out with the county administrator and the superintendent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
That's the total amount.
That's the total, it's in kind, well, half is in kind and half is a local match, and I'm thinking we have to appropriate the entire amount, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, ayes
Thank
have
you.
it. And then finally, we have the appropriation request from reserves to pay for the McClure efficiency service work that was done in the amount of $1,483,221.40 to the schools for the McClure invoices. Is that $1,483,000, does that reflect the difference, April, between what was left from the school construction fund, or is that just the total amount of invoices that we have right now?
Well, we don't have the invoices, but the superintendent received those invoices. The school board had voted on this back in December at a cost not to exceed the 1.68, and they've received invoices in this amount of 1.483,221.40. So that's the amount they're asking to be appropriated, so they can pay the invoices to McClure.
So, I guess we need to understand what the money, what monies are allocated from the school construction fund that cover, unless it's broke out in this, for the chiller. Because we allocated monies differently, they wouldn't.
That's a question for the schools.
That's a question for us,
The only,
because we
we only
appropriated
had,
those dollars.
we had 223,000 that were identified from the school construction grant monies, if that's the monies you're asking me about.
So we allocated $640,000.
640 for the vehicle maintenance shop, $300,000 for the broadband,
What
and the
was the
delta was the difference, which was about $238,000.
So that's the amount that we need to know, because we would approve.
Mhm.
Do we know if the work that was done on the chillers broke out separately in these?
It might be up there. What? There's more attachments. Did you send it over with the schedule?
Yeah.
Because that's up there too. Mm-hmm,
Isn't that the?
Chuck,
one-
does that
isn't
scroll?
that the,
right.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it's up there.
isn't the fluid cooler replacement?
Yep,
That it?
$359,171.
No, but that's not all of it. I mean, that's, we can't apply that whole amount, right? I'm seeing,
I think just a point of order, Mr. Chair, is, I think in any amount of money is gonna be more than 1% of expenditures. So So I think this amendment would require a public hearing.
We mean it would be more than 1% of the expenditures.
Of any budget amendment that exceeds 1% of the county's expenditures requires a public hearing. So if this money was not previously appropriated or part of the county's adopted budget, then if it exceeds 1% of what was appropriated for expenditure, it will require a public hearing.
Well, we did appropriate 200 and something thousand.
238,000.
238,000, so if this total amount is at 1.4, take off 280, so you're at 1.2, you are less than 1%.
I think the county's total expenditures are 30 million, so 1%
Yep.
of that is 300,000.
I was using 26, but we're way over the.
Yeah, it's only
1%.
$260,000, So I think however,
I got you.
whichever way you cut it, it's probably gonna need to have a public hearing. Now, that could be synced up with the other budget amendments for the school board in one public hearing.
And at some point, we may want to consider borrowing this money.
We haven't even decided how we're gonna pay for this. How can we approve something we don't even know how we're gonna pay for this yet? So I'm not comfortable taking it from unresolved.
I guess, okay. I'll go back to my original point. The chiller piece of it has already been approved and appropriated,
understand
so
that
that
part.
probably needs to be broke out separately.
That's fine too.
Because that's already been, assuming there's
That's
a.
sitting in an escrow account.
Right, it
Right.
is sitting in the escrow account right now, and that amount is, if you wanna look at this document now, Joe, you just read me a $300,000 number, but I'm not showing that same, scheduled value was
Yeah.
$359,171.
Yeah, but they put,
Work completed is $179,585.
For the TS chiller.
so that means
So
they got more
you could
due to
approve
it?
that tonight. I know that's in escrow.
I'm sorry?
They must got more to do to it then.
I don't know the answer to that.
Will that be August payment still?
This is,
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately.
You're looking for the cost of the chiller? On,
last document, the fee schedule.
Yeah, but right here, look,
they're disagreeing on the amount.
Well, at any rate, we needed to have it on a BAF form, and we need to figure out whether we need to have a public hearing or not.
You don't for the chiller,
Right, that's my point, is that for the chiller part.
right? That's already,
It's been appropriated, it's in an escrow account, it's been approved for up to the $280,000, whatever it is. What I'm showing right now is that it's at about $179,585
Yeah.
total completed to date.
50, yeah. And it says 50% completed.
Correct.
For the chiller,
Mm-hmm.
when we met with them the other day, all those projects are complete, so they were asking for their funding. This was last week.
This is only saying balance to finish. This is,
Yeah.
complete 50%.
50% on this thing.
And which item was that?
That's the cooler replacement.
Yep.
I'm looking at the July one, it says 90% complete
Okay, well,
to date.
Let me see the date on this.
so are these rolling then? Are some of these
Yes.
rolling?
Yeah,
So we only
yeah.
need to see,
It would
so we
have to
only
just
need
look
to
at the
see.
July one, that's
Yeah, we
what you
only
need to
see the
look at.
latest one then.
Look at the July one.
Oh, no, June, I'm looking at, let me go. Let me go back. Okay.
So it's 323, so it's 90% at 323, 253.90,
Correct, that's what I'm looking at.
and 90% complete.
Right, now, yeah, I see it now.
Go to the next page, Chuck.
Page
Right there.
2.
I see.
See it? 90%,
Yeah,
three
I see.
twenty-three,
323.
253.90.
Yeah.
So do we need a motion or directive to schedule a public hearing for 1,683,941?
I'm sorry, what?
The date on that is July. We met in August last week and confirmed it was through them as well as Zach, our maintenance supervisor, that everything was 100%.
That's fine.
Go by that conversation. You're that.
Those are-
So, yes, I think if a directive to hold a public hearing on the proposed budget amendment we don't need to know the specific number for the motion, but,
Okay.
I mean, it is clear to me that it exceeds 1% of the
Right.
county's total expenditures.
So we just need a directive to hold a public hearing for a budget amendment for the school, for school capital improvement, is what this is. If you're not doing a specific number, don't we have to advertise something? Do we have to advertise a number?
Yes,
Yes, you do.
the county will have to advertise the number. The board doesn't have to direct us
Right.
to advertise the number, but.
So we need a motion to have the public hearing?
No, you
No?
just directed it.
Yeah, you don't need a motion necessarily.
Well, I mean,
Just-
it's obvious, we gotta do the public hearing,
Right.
so that's what we've been discussing.
And the amount be dependent, right now, what we have is.
I would suggest having the public hearing based on the amount that the school board had already adopted or set a limit to, because it is greater than the invoices they've received. So then that money's, up to, but not to exceed the 1.6. They've already incurred 1.4 and some change, and so then we wouldn't have to come back. Difference would be the chiller.
And that also give us Thursday time enough to strategize on how we're gonna
Right.
fund this, whether we're gonna put a bond out, whether we're gonna get a
Because you could
loan, or
appropriate
whether we're gonna
anything
take it
lower
out
than
unassigned.
advertised.
That's right. We don't have to advertise it.
We can sit down Thursday and kick it across the table.
I would expect that there will be
Kick it
a
down the
number
road.
of public hearing eligible
Yeah,
requests that we can advertise at one time. So
right.
as long as there is a general understanding of what those maximal amounts
What
are,
the
Right.
amount is.
then we can put the public notice out there. And as April said, the board can approve something as long as it doesn't exceed what has been advertised for public hearing.
You guys generally do this already for ARPA, broadband, CARES funds. We just did one through pass-through funds for
Right.
DHCD, so it's,
Same process.
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Makes sense.
Can't improve much, 1%.
So what will be advertised, so I'm clear, for public hearing?
Budget amendment to the schools, up to but not exceed 1.683, less this chiller amount.
So, but we're not gonna do anything. I think what Max was referring to is there's other budget requests. Are we not gonna include in any of the other?
It's a pleasure of the board. We're going to include whatever you direct.
Well,
As he said, you can include a bunch.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, we've had a request now. We can either have it directed, put it on there for $19 million, or not, and just go with this 1.6, but at some point, I mean, how many public hearings do we wanna have?
One.
That's my point.
That's a good point.
Isn't that what's being suggested?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if that would be it, then we need to basically do a budget amendment that's gonna have really the 19 and change that the school is asking, plus the 1.6, so you're talking about a budget amendment that will.
$22 million.
Huh?
About 22 million, somewhere around there.
So, which is
It's gonna be about 5.6, 5.7 million.
more than what's been approved,
Oh, yeah.
which is gonna trigger tax rates and.
That's why we need to have the public hearing. So,
That's pleasure of the board. I mean,
That
I'm
is
good
how
with
we
that.
started when the
I'm
superintendent
good with that.
presented the budget.
let's do it.
It's up to the two boards.
when that gets it done, we can always come in at a lower amount, but we need to set the maximum amount that we're gonna
But-
advertise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not approving anything, we're just having a public hearing on
Just
it.
having a public hearing.
We just
talk
have to
about
advertise it, so.
The
So
thing
for
is-
your own budget adoption, we did the same thing. We advertised at higher values and then
Yeah.
adopted
Yeah.
down as we scrubbed it down, so
Always
that we
easy
could
to go
stay to
down,
the
harder to
calendar.
go back up.
I'm all
That's
for
right.
that.
We're good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Is that what you need? Advertise it
Question
for
though
both?
is, do they incur any more late fees and?
How much you wanna raise taxes, Joe?
What?
How much you wanna raise taxes? We can set it any amount we want.
I don't raise no tax. No, I'm saying, do they incur late fees with this stuff?
It'll be in the contract.
Oh,
Is it in the contract? or
They
do
haven't, doesn't look like they.
They were asking about the payment for that, for the home authorities, and so we shared them getting processed, but it was trying to figure out the number for the VAF. But they were
So there have been no late fees at this point.
Right.
They waiting for their money, so then it might be on.
So what amount do we want to provide staff? So the budget, the requested budget amount plus the McClure is what we'll do at the public hearing?
That covers the maximum, and then we can go from there.
Yep.
We may approve that, may not, but let's hear from the public and go from there. I agree.
Yeah, I don't see how we can do anything different right now.
Just discuss it further on Thursday, because we'll have to set a special date to have the meeting, so it's not waiting
Yep.
till September. Probably have a special club meeting.
Yeah, I'd say we'll set the date on, our,
September meeting.
no.
You'll meet on
Our
Thursday,
strategic
discuss
plan.
it, set it
And
Thursday.
the only reason I bring that up is in case there's other projects or things that come up that we may need to add to.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
It could increase that, so let's get through our strategic planning session to make sure there's nothing else that we need to
Fair enough.
consider with that.
Okay, so we're gonna have a public hearing, we'll just set the amount in a few days.
Very good.
Yep, so we'll set it for public hearing, hopefully no later than our September meeting.
Right.
All right. All right, not hearing nothing else, I get a motion to move us into a closed meeting.
I move that the Essex County Board of Supervisors convene in a closed meeting pursuant to codes of section, Virginia section 2.2-3711A1 for discussions related to the assignment, performance, and appointment of specific public officers, appointees, or employees, and the appointments to the Social Services Board, and pursuant to section 2.2-3711A7 for the consultation with legal counsel and briefing by staff members pertaining to the actual proper litigation or such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the county related to the ongoing litigation and appeals, and pursuant to section 2.2-3711A8 for the consultation with legal counsel retained by the county regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel related to litigation matters and agreements.
Second.
We're now in closed session.
Ryan, real quick.
Mr. Chair, can we go in closed session?
Yeah.
Can we second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Closed meeting.
So are we actually gonna go in and close it down and?
Pumpkin in 31 minutes.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to reconvene in open session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Back in open session. April, do a roll call, please?
No, sir. I'm just,
Not yet. We gotta see if we're all here first.
Chairman Akers,
Present.
and Vice Chairman Gill,
Present.
Supervisor Hale,
Present.
Supervisor Henry,
Here.
Supervisor Magruder.
Here.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, can we read the compliance certification, please?
Whereas the Essex County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmation recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the board that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, there be it resolved that the board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements of Virginia law were discussed in closed session, to which the certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the board.
Any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of clauses 1 and 2 shall state the substance of that departure that, in his judgment, has taken place. Hearing none, April, will you please poll the board members?
Chairman Akers,
I certify.
Vice Chairman Gill,
I certify.
Supervisor Hale,
I certify.
Supervisor Henry,
I certify.
Supervisor McGruber.
Certified.
Thank you.
McGruber.
I said McGruber.
That'll work. 11:30 at night, that's.
It's 11:31. It's a McGruber.
Chairman,
All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we make a policy change on our social services board to allow allow reappointment for third terms in alignment with the state code.
I don't think we're talking about that. I don't know that we have a policy that we just we defer to the code for those things. I don't think there's a specific policy, so we actually don't need to make that.
Okay. Sounds
That
good. We
motion.
don't need to make the motion.
We just need to probably make the motion to allow for their point consistent with the state.
All right.
I don't, there's no harm in making a motion to amend a policy that doesn't exist, I suppose, but I don't know where that policy
I will take that
is.
motion back.
The Social Services Board website does
Pagawookie.
copy and paste the state code, which was amended this past session to allow for 3 consecutive terms.
Yeah, I motioned that.
So I think all the board needs to do is make the appointment.
He said copy and paste.
So we just need to make the appointment.
You just need to make the appointment? If you're good with that, all right. I motion to reappoint Mary Pascalupi to the Social Services Board for a 4-year term ending 6/30/30.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Board requests and directives are, we have our strategic planning session August 13th at 9 a.m. at the Hampton Inn. Offices will be closed on September 7th in observance of Labor Day. We have our work session on September 15th here at the Buell Board Room, followed by our regular meeting at 7 p.m. And then, just to clarify, we're gonna set at our strategic planning session a date for a public hearing for school budget and other items as they're presented. And we will also talk about animal shelter for Supervisor Henry and all of us and all our other strategies that are there. Any other directives from the board? Oh, one other thing, we do need to, because I think we're probably past our administrator's annual review. And I'm always late to do that. She hasn't bugged me about it, but.
Well, you haven't been in a good mood tonight, so maybe we'll skip you. You tore me up in the back, so I think we'll, no, just kidding. I'm kidding.
We are due to do that, so,
Yeah.
I will send out the document that we've used in the past to everybody, and then, we ought to try to take the opportunity to be able to do that here in shortcoming, so.
I agree.
A request in preparation for our strategic plan meeting, if we could get last year or the last strategic plan that we adopted.
Yes, we have that ready.
If we could send that out tomorrow, so we can look at it in preparation for Thursday, as well as just a reminder of our CIP projects as well. So we can talk about that. I think we're gonna talk about the poorhouse track, was one of the things, how we're gonna fund the McClure thing, plus other funding. All
We-
that, I think, is on there.
We probably ought to request a copy of the schools, whatever their proposed CIP is.
Do they have one?
We can ask the question, and if we're gonna be talking about finances and upcoming projects, even if it's not approved by them, if we even have some inclination of what they want, if we have a copy, so we can at least work it in and understand what they are.
Yeah, if you have updates for the draft agenda, one of the sections, we have like just very broad headers. One is financial strategies discussion, so a lot of stuff will fall under that. But if there's anything in particular, we can do it. We thought with new board members on, we'd review what was agreed on last time for strategic objectives, and then your mission, vision, and creed, or whatever it was that y'all called it last
It's gonna
time.
take them all day too.
The schools did have a capital plan, because John, I remember you asking questions about when
I
some of these
remember.
dollars were supposed to be hit, and we didn't get a good answer, and I don't know that we ever saw that plan. But if we get a copy, whatever it is, we at least have an understanding of total dollar amount over the next 5 years, so we.
Gina can reach
I
out
remember
to
seeing
Sharon.
something
I
a few
remember
years
seeing
ago,
something,
but
yeah. It's been a while.
yeah,
It's been
a while.
Because I think it was
Couldn't find
never, it was always a draft form, and we're waiting for it to be
I think
finalized.
that's right.
And then y'all just wore out and said enough.
If there's nothing else,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So, man.
all in favor?
Oh.
Aye.